Yeah, finna get it. Watch me, finna get it, finna get it, finna get it now. Finna get it, watch me run it down. Finna get it, never backing out. Finna get it, yeah, I'm up and I'm out. Used to know me when I nothing in my pockets. Now they see me and they talking, always watching. I remember when you said I wouldn't make it. Now you mad because I took it, didn't fake it. Pressing every day, yeah, I was patient. Putting all that work, no hesitation. Now I'm getting everything I'm chasing. Look at me now, yeah, I'm elevation. Finna get it, finna get it, finna get it now. Finna get it, watch me run it down. Finna get it, never backing out. Finna get it, yeah, I'm up and I'm out. See me pulling up, they switching how they acting. Back then, you weren't here when I was lacking. Now you want a piece of what I'm stacking. But I remember everything that happened. Keep it moving, ain't no time for all that talking. I've been running to the bag, I'm never walking. They've been sleeping, I've been up until the morning. Now I'm winning and there ain't no way I'm falling. Finna get it, finna get it, finna get it now. Finna get it, watch me run it down. Finna get it, never backing out. Finna get it, yeah, I'm up and I'm out. Yeah, they doubted me, they did it, now they proud of me.
Good evening, folks. A warm welcome back on a wonderful Wednesday evening to the InfinityGSeries. My name's Finley Williams. I've been with you since the dawn of time, it feels. I've been with you every race, every pre-qualifying, and we are running it back once again in the Group 4 cars at Mount Panorama tonight. We had two fantastic races on Monday. We're going to have two, hopefully even better ones to cover for you tonight. And it looks set to be another incredible round of action here in one of the most competitive series in Gran Turismo 7 with some of the best drivers in the world. But you will notice I am not alone this evening. On Monday, I teased we would have a very special new commentator joining us on the broadcast. helping us out with all the streaming stuff that I can't do because I'm not technically gifted at all. Also, a man with world tour experience to lend his ear and his voice and give his expert analysis that, as a B-rated driver, I couldn't possibly either. I am delighted to welcome to the broadcast Yomas Florent Pagdene, who you will have also seen if you've raced Gran Turismo 7 at all, because he is one of the AI in the game. Yomas, how are you? Welcome to the stream.
I'm doing pretty good. I must say I'm slightly, ever so slightly scared to run everything here. Let's be fair and honest about this. I've never run a stream like this. Commentating in English is gonna be my first time as well. As you can hear, I am not English whatsoever. I'm a bit more on the south. So yeah, that's gonna be one hell of an experience to me. So I hope it's gonna be good. I hope the balance of the sound is gonna be great. There's a bit of music in the background, but it should be good. And I fully rely on you. I'm telling you, you're gonna be you're my host as well.
No, absolutely. And as we say, this is obviously Yomas's first time doing the broadcast, the whole OBS setup. So please, if you have any feedback, if anything's not sounding right, or if anything is sounding right, that's probably a good thing. Then do feel free to chuck it in the chat so he can fix anything that needs to be done. But we're back at Mount Panorama.
Oh, I see someone in the chat saying, "Oh, you're fired."
Oh no! He's gone already. He's sacked in the morning. Oh my goodness!
Speed run to be sacked.
Minutes.
Let's go.
Speed run. I've got to do this all myself now. Oh no! But yes, we are back tonight at Mount Panorama in the Group 4 cars. Teams have 4 cars to pick from. They have the BMW M4. They have the Renault Megane, they have the Aston Martin V8 Vantage, and the car that on Monday evening I put my university fund on no one picking, so I really hope no one picks it, the Alfa Romeo 4C. We've got 13 laps of action across 2 races this evening, and one of the things we've seen, Yomas, maybe this is something you can comment on, the volatility between all 4 of the cars. We saw 3 in action on Monday. No one picked the 4C, thankfully. But there are definitely subtle differences, and the Vantage has the advantage on the straights. For us, the Renault is much better on the tyres and through the turns as well. And we often saw the Renaults finish much higher up in the race standings on Monday compared to the Aston Martins that kind of worn out as the race went on gradually. So as we look ahead to tonight, what are some of the key elements that these drivers will be looking at when deciding their cars and moreover their strategy? Because we saw some wild takes on Monday evening in terms of strategy.
And I'm gonna tell you one thing. I was in a lobby right before. You've seen that because we were testing stuff. And there were someone from a team. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say who it is, but I know him personally. Like, we raced against each other in World Tours. And I've seen he was in a 4C, actually. So maybe tonight we're gonna see a 4C.
My university fund's going. Oh no!
And the 4C is not so bad on tires either. Maybe not like the Megane, but it is very light. It's not very fast in the straight, but it's also pretty slippery. It doesn't have much drag, so it doesn't pull out of the corners, but it's gonna slip its way through until the end of the straight. And there's long straights on Bathurst, and I think it has a good top speed. I didn't check the top speed, sadly, because I was trying OBS and not panicking. And I think it's gonna be a good car to have. Maybe an all-rounder. Like, it's not the best at anything, but if you can make everything work, you may be on a good and if you have a good strategy and all of that, you may be on a good way to have like a podium finish or even win. Who knows?
Absolutely. And this is your first time commentating on the IGS, and your first time commentating on any Mac 25 gaming event at all. But I think if you follow Gran Turismo Esports to any extent outside of the World Series, you probably know of Mac 25. They're quite a big noise in the community. And I mean, just looking at the teams and the drivers we have, 24 of the best teams in the world. Some of the standout names there, you've got Owls, you've got 92, you've got Simfream. We're going to see them all tonight, and we'll preview all the teams and drivers that we're going to see tonight in a bit. But it's such a stacked lineup. There is no room for error whatsoever.
One mistake, you're out. That's it. And I also heard there's heavy damage, isn't it?
I will just double check. I should know this. Hold on.
I didn't ask you before.
Light damages on light, according to
On
the lobby
light,
settings we have at the moment, and certainly I did see on Monday the damage did auto recover, so I think it is on light.
Okay,
yeah.
it's also on light because the grid on Bathurst, it is one hell of a grid as well. It's not staggered, not first and second are not staggered. It's 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and so on. They're on the same line, so it is very, very more likely to have a crash at the first corner. I think I've seen on the 2 days ago. Like a 3 or 4 wide turn 1 lap 1, and it did not end well at all.
No, I think there was one instance. I think we had a false start in the second race because the grid got ordered up wrong.
Oh yeah.
And there were one of the, I think it was one of the Maniacs Revolution cars. I think it was Borsman was on the grass knocking down the braking points, trying to go forward into turn 1. It was like, goodness gracious me, and that's again playing into the strategy. What we saw was that the Megane is much quicker off the line than the Aston Martin.
Yeah.
So one of the Vanquish cars, I think it was Maxo, he started P4, and through no fault of his own, purely because he was in the advantage, by the time he was coming up the back straight towards towards turn 2, he was all of a sudden in 7th. It was like, yeah, it's so polarizing. The Megane really does look like the best race car out there.
And the Megane has the advantage to be an MR car. So the engine is roughly in the back. So that means it has more weight on the back, and the tires are gonna have more grip at the start. It's also lighter compared to the Vantage. It has less power, but it's also quite lighter. So that means it's gonna really have the grip to pull out of your grid slot compared to the Vantage, which is mostly on the front. Like it's the weight balance is mostly on the front, and you may have more wheel spin, and as it's also a heavier car, there's more tire wear on this car. So maybe they run on harder compounds. So that means less grip because of the tires, but also less grip because it is more a front biased weight distribution. So that's something to take into account when you take a car. It's not only the lap time, maybe for qualifying, but for the race. It's a bit like Formula 1 nowadays with Ferrari. You start P5, okay, I'm gonna be P1 in the first corner anyway because I can go off the grid, so it doesn't matter really. And then if you defend your position well, you're gonna be good. And there's a whole section on Bathurst, the whole mountain section, I'm gonna call it. So when you go up until the very long back straight, good luck overtaking. Good luck. I tried. It doesn't go well.
Yeah, no, we saw some very, very optimistic maneuvers. All I'm going to say is, if you didn't watch Monday's racing, which you should after this is finished, by the way, the stewards are going to have their work cut out after this week, I think. I don't envy Nico Romero over the rest of the week. Nico Romero, World Series driver for Genesis. He's obviously retired from that now, but he spends a lot of our time doing our steward work. And we had no less than 24 incidents last week at Deep Forest, so I can't think how many there are going to be on a tight and twisty circuit like Bathurst this week. Now, moving on to the qualifying format, Super Pole format, and we've spoken in the commentary box at length the past few weeks about, the dangers of one-shot qualifying. We see it in the World Endurance Championship, we see it in Formula E. It's such a volatile format, it really does shake up the grid. But you have both cars out there running at the same time, and what we've seen as a constant in the first two races is the slipstream effect being used. And one interesting thing we noted is that teams opted to put the Megane more often than not at the front, and then have the Vantage, or in some cases the M4 at the back, perhaps to maybe use the quicker front end of the Vantage or the M4 to bump draft down the back straight. So do you think that's a conscious choice that teams are making? Can you see why teams would opt to put the Megane in front rather than maybe the faster car down the straight?
That is interesting, because I remember back in my day, so I'm already talking like an old guy, but I'm already 30,
Back in my day, these were all fields.
Back in my days. I remember we were putting the more power-heavy cars in the front. Back in 2019, I had kind of an alliance with Tijni. I was running a Jaguar, which was pretty much a power car, and he was running the Audi TT, which is pretty much a nimble and light car. So I was running in front. So in the straights, he was not so much at a disadvantage, and in the corners, he was catching bit by bit. But if you were doing the opposite, sometimes he was running off. But maybe as they use bump draft and all of that, I've seen that right now. I have the game on my right, and I just checked a few cars. It is interesting that it's actually reverse, but if it works out, it works out, Bump drafting and using slipstream, especially on this track, like I can think of other tracks like Monza and that, like very top-end, top speed tracks. I can see these strategies working, but it's also kind of risky, especially if it's a one-shot, because if you bump draft at the wrong place, one of the guys are just gonna run into the wall or in the grass or the sand even, and well, job done. See you in the back.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I was discussing or I was thinking about, because I watched the races back yesterday in school during my free periods, don't tell my teachers, but I was, and one of the things I sort of hypothesized was that maybe teams were putting the Megane in front because obviously Bathurst being such a hilly circuit, lots of tight turns in that middle section. If the Megane gets a run on the Aston Martin through the middle section of the circuit and the Aston Martin's in front, there's risk of a collision.
Yeah.
So we saw that a couple of times at Deep Forest. I think it was the Joker's team actually at Deep Forest that came to blows in the infield section of the circuit, and one of their drivers ended up losing a bunch of time and started right at the back, and then he was automatically on the back foot. Because one of the things that we see a lot in this series is that because there's two drivers in a team, teams like to try and stick together as much as possible. A lot of these teams will be on, I think all of them will be on a party chat at the moment, discussing strategy, like team radio style through the race as it goes on. And in an ideal world, these teams will have ran the simulations together, discussing the bump draft, whether drivers maybe hang back later on through the hill section to give the other one time, and so on and so forth. So it'll be really interesting to see how that goes, and I think the qualifying session could be a big make or break thing, especially on a circuit like Bathurst, where overtaking's at a premium.
Yeah, clearly. And considering the teams we have, I expect them to be in the voice chat, even with like a third person in the voice chat. So they're not thinking about what to do while driving. They can focus on driving, and someone else tells them, okay, player A, just fall back a bit. Player B, try to push a bit more, or try to overtake, or B, like, try to block the guy in front so he can't take the optimal line, and then maybe trying to work together to overtake the people in front or something like this. Depends how the synergy works with the team. I know that when I was doing esports, and especially with Kenny back in the days, my friend Kenny, clearly I was more the strategy guy. So I was telling, okay, do this, do that, and all that, but I was also very distracted. So, like, thinking two things at the same time, I'm not good at it. So commentating and doing OBS, I'm not good at it.
Oh no, why haven't you told us this before? You didn't put that on your CV when you applied for the job, did you?
What CV? So, but yeah, it depends on the synergy. Maybe drivers would prefer to be one-on-one and they discuss about it, or they do it themselves. Maybe some will try to delegate that to someone else that can see like a screen share on either Discord or the PlayStation itself. Like, there's many ways nowadays to do that if you have the bandwidth. I remember back in the days I did not have the bandwidth to do that at all.
And bear in mind, obviously, it's Polyphony that run this game, so I mean, you never know what's going to happen with that.
You never know, yeah. You never know, but it's functional somehow. So it
makes a change,
nice.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
but yeah, before we get to the lobby, so this session starts at 5:30, so we've got 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And we'll get to the lobby in a moment, and we can maybe see some of the drivers going through their warm-ups and maybe make some notes about what we can expect during qualifying. Because we're in the lobby at the moment, and all of the drivers are on soft, so they're doing their qualifying runs at the moment. The last thing I want to discuss with you is tyre strategy. Now, we were predicted by the boffins at Mac 25 HQ. Good evening, Mr. Alf. Hope you're well. We got given two potential strategies. Mm-hmm. The main one and the one that the drivers have stuck to the most is medium, and that's that's basically the only strategy you have if you're in the Vantage, because obviously it's much worse on the tyre wear than the Megane. So drivers would run the first 6 or 7 laps, on the first medium stint, and then do the last bit, and then pit in end of lap 6, end of lap 7, onto the mediums and finish the race there. The other strategy we potentially could see is, and this is viable if you're in the Megane, is you extend for lap 8 on the mediums and then run the last 5 laps on softs. We saw a rogue strategy yesterday from Alvarito, who's one of the EPLF sim racing drivers now. EPLF had a horrible start to the season at Deep Forest, finished 11th and 12th in their lobby. And we were wondering if this was a mistake or not. Alvarito started on the soft, and then pitted in, ran on the mediums, and then if it wasn't for a mistake into the chase on the final lap, he would have finished P5. But because his tyres were so worn, he ended up going off, missing his braking point. The tyres ended up locking up and he ended up going off onto the chase, and ended up coming home in P9. Penalty pending, because I think there was some dodgy blocking at the end of that race there as well. But do you reckon we're going to see the softs tonight off the top of your head using your strategy brain that you have?
I expect it on the 4C.
On the 4C, if we see the 4C.
And the Megane. Is there a 4C in the lobby? Or was I deceived?
Thank goodness.
Oh, I mean, I can't go on track. I have it.
You could go on, yeah.
But more seriously, the strategy you just mentioned is interesting. I would say it can work if you actually start in the front, have a Megane, so you just pop off the grid. You do your laps on the softs. You get away from any kind of troubles. You pit earlier than anyone, which means you're not going to be in the traffic in the pit entry. It's like on Gran Turismo, I think 90% of the pit entry is you go flat out in it, you don't think about it, you go flat out of it, and you don't think about it. On Bathurst here, you need to brake, do the little chicane, try to not cut too much because it's going to be track limit penalty if it's enabled. Or worse, you can spin in the gravel, which happened actually in World Tours back in the days. I think it was Nico Rubilar who did that in the American final in Nations Cup in 2018.
Oh, wow.
And there's so many ways it can go wrong, but if you are 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever, to actually go into the pits, at the same time, one missing the braking zone, it can be a domino effect, and the first 2 can be off the track, and your race is ruined. Obviously, there's going to be the stewarding, you know that. But it's not going to give you back the time you've lost. It's just going to make the other lose more time. So in the end, you still lose out. So it can be a strategy of, I do my own thing and I'll see where it sticks. If it's P5, if it's P9, if it's P1. But it's kind of a race of I would say not kind of a loner, of you just don't trust anyone else on the grid. You do your thing and you see if it sticks or not. And I can understand. But it's risky, obviously, because I don't think you're going to be stuck in traffic when you go out of the pit, so you can enjoy your new and fresh tires. So you also have the undercut effect. But you're very vulnerable at the end of the race, especially if you have the Megane. Because if you don't have the grip paddle, you're going to be slow in the corners and be slow in the straights. So in the end, you're going to be a sitting duck. That's a choice. I can see it happening for the Megane if someone can put it off. But, people may have thought it better. They practiced. I did not. I did not practice, so I'm just thinking on top of my head. But I would say on paper, it's a viable strategy.
Okay, I wish I could comment on that, but as a B-rated driver who hasn't raced a lap in about a year because I got to B rated and then retired because I wanted to keep it at B rated instead of losing it, I could not comment on the strategy. However, I did do some practice before this event. I managed to get down to a 19, which I was very impressed with because the best lap these guys were turning was a 13, meaning I'm only 6 seconds slower than these guys, so I was quite happy with that. But no, we'll head into the lobby just now, and we can see the warm-up, and we can also see...
Let me show you that.
For you. Once you get into the lobby, we can also see the car allocations for the teams. Amazing job, you did it, well done.
Yes, and you don't see my face anymore, bye-bye.
Yes, that means I can go and turn my light on, fantastic. We can also see... we can also see the car allocations for the teams, and keeping with the trend of one car of the 12-man lobby being in the M4, Alu, for the Simbrium Esports team, the top-seeded team in this lobby, has opted for the BMW. I wonder why that would be.
I wonder too. Maybe it's also kind of a middle ground, but compared to the Vantage, I think the Vantage is the best in the straight line, and then it's like very slow in the corners. The BMW may trade some of the actual straight line speed for cornering purposes and maybe tire wear. Then you have the 4C, which is maybe more of a middle ground of it. It's fine in the straight, it's fine in the corners, it's just fine, but maybe because it's just fine, it's not picked because it doesn't excel anywhere. And the Megane excels in, like, it's very good in tire wear, so that's what I would say. Again, I haven't practiced any lap, even though I love Bathurst. It's one of my favorite tracks. But yeah, I can see it being that way, to be fair.
Okay, and that's extremely interesting because race 1 on Monday evening, the only car to run in the BMW M4 was Flex, a very fast Austrian young driver from the Vanquish team, and he ended up putting it on pole. So that could be a good sign in a one-lap format, especially for a top fighting team like Freem, who you'd hope would be at the sharp end of the grid regardless. That could be a good sign for maybe the BMW to get away nice and early from one of the best seats in the house. Although we did hear in the chat on Monday that Flexi is one of the best drivers in the world on Bathurst, so a lot to live up to for Ali. We're on board with, well, a man who needs no introduction, but we'll give him one anyway, Mehdi Hafidi, a man who I'm very lucky to have commentated on in my first ever series of commentating at Pure Racing League. That was a lot of fun. Getting to interview him was really cool. But former world champion in the Manufacturers' Cup with Nissan. So it's not often we see him outside of a Nissan, but he's in the Aston Martin tonight, and he was running for the Alien Motorsports team in our first race of the season at Deep Forest last week. And to say he had a bit of a nightmare race was an understatement. He ended up picking up a 5-second penalty for an off-track incident.
He just hit the wall.
Oh goodness gracious! I'm looking at my spreadsheet with all the information on
yeah,
that.
I'm looking at the driving, and he just, like, you said nightmare, he hit the wall.
Oh well, I've jinxed commentating curse already. We're only like 5 minutes in. Fantastic. But yeah, he had a 5-second penalty due to an on-track incident last week. Ended up demoting him to 7th, which is not a place we often see him in these leagues. And Alien have had a bit of a poor start to the season by their very high standards, so they'll be keen to rebound here at Bathurst. And on top of the 5-second penalty Mehdi was given, the team also received an additional 10-second penalty for, get this, not having numbers on the side of their car. That is how strict we are here at that. Rookie error from the livery designer.
I will say it. Yes, it is a rookie error. Like, you have regulations for this. I would say sporting regulations and everything that's around it. You need to be good in both. It's exactly like how I would run something like this. If your livery is not like up to the standards up, no, you get a penalty or something. We ask you to have this, this, and this. If you don't have it, penalty. So yeah, I kind of agree, and yeah, it's a rookie mistake.
Yeah, and it's good to see they've rectified it for this week at least. So there'll be no more off-track penalties coming for them. Let's just see if they can keep it clean on track this week. Now we are with Manu Ortega for the AGT drivers team. It's one of the teams that came through the extremely competitive pre-qualifiers at Brands Hatch in the 911 Carrera, a really difficult track to master on a very unstable car at points, as some of the drivers found out. They got on decent last week by their standards. They're probably an outsider team. They were the bottom seed in their group. So the way we work it here at Mac 25 with the InfinityGSeries is we have groups of 3, and every group is essentially racing each other through the regular season. And AGT are in a group with 2 of the other teams that we're going to see this evening, and it's a very, very, very competitive group because we have Azteca Racing Motorsport, who are one of the top teams in this particular code, and then a team you'll be very familiar with, Yomas, in my team Esports, who are also running this evening, one of the top teams in the French code.
And I think qualifying just started. I think
Absolutely.
I don't have the messages in the chat. I think I removed that for something else. So I will just...
Yeah, no, I wasn't getting them either, but qualifying, I can assure you, is starting.
Yep.
So, whilst the drivers go on their outlap and go to our waiting zone on the left-hand side of a chase, as beautifully demonstrated, it's almost like you've gone over this, and beautifully demonstrated there. What we're going to do is we're going to run a new test feature for this evening. We're going to, whenever he is ready, Yomas is going to flash up the teams that will be running this evening, and I'm going to try and give you a bit about them. So, in your own time, Yomas.
Mm-hmm.
The suspension is killing me.
I just don't know how to start it.
No, it's all good. It's all good. If we can't start it, I can just manually tell you who the teams are.
Yeah, I'm fine. It's just here. Don't worry. I was just like, maybe now.
Ta-da! Here we are. So we have the purple group and the orange group for our third race of round 2, and we start with our top seeds. Esports of Italy, the #1 seed for the entire tournament, the reigning champions. They won their first race of the season a couple of weeks ago with a lights to flag victory from Pepe. Juju finished in P4. They've gone for a full changed lineup this week with Racing Green 91 of Britain in the Aston Martin and Alu of Italy in the BMW M4, so they're the top seeds in the group. Alien Motorsport, we've already discussed a bit about. Danny CR finished 5th last week. Mehdi Hafidi finished 7th with an off-track penalty. Mehdi is continuing his run this week in the Aston Martin, but he'll be joined by a new teammate and another British driver in Maka, so we'll be interested to see how that combination works out. Maka running the Renault Megane. All teams from here on out are running the Megane Vantage combination. That is worth noting. So they're the second seeds in this group, and will be looking to rebound after a difficult start. Speaking of difficult starts, Thunderlight Sim Racing had an awful race in terms of discipline. They ran the Turkish driver Ekin last week, who ended up getting a 3-second penalty, which cost them the clean race bonus, and Feros finished 6th, so 6th and 9th finish for them. This week they're running Alvaro Martinez, Alvaro 114 in the Aston Martin Vantage, and alongside him will be another Spanish driver in V Castro in the Renault Megane. Onto the orange group now, and it is Azteca Racing Motorsports, who finished 3rd and 4th in their race last week, with Carrot taking home the fastest lap overall, giving them an extra bonus point on top of the one they already had. Jose Breyer, World Series driver, needs no introduction. He's continuing with the team for this week after finishing 3rd at Deep Forest last week. He's joined by Diego Rojas in the Renault Megane, so that's the top team there. We then move on to one of the top teams on the French Tour, as we've already said, in my team, Esports. Kipso, very fast young Belgian driver. He took home 6th place last week, and he is continuing this week in the Aston Martin, and he'll be joined by a new teammate this week, but one we did see at the pre-qualifier in Brands Hatch in DEFCON, one of the British drivers. It was Punisher, the Frenchman, who also ran last week, taking home 8th position, and it'll be DEFCON in the Megane this week, swapping out for him. And we round out our group by looking at the AGT drivers. As we mentioned, a bit of a difficult start to them last week. Jack Garcia finishing 7th, and Herr Kreuzer had a really good qualifying position, but an array of incidents blew it all away for him, meaning he took home 10th. The AGT team will be the first to run in this qualifying session by virtue of being last in the team's championship out of this combination, and they're being represented by Perlita and Manu Ortega, the all-Spanish combination. I am out of breath, but I hope that was an insightful look into our 6 teams that are running into the first race of the evening. There they all are. Hopefully it's a fantastic race for us. It's the purple and the orange groups going head-to-head with each other, and the cars are heading through the pit lane, changing tyres and fuel, and heading on their outlaps now, so we can cross back to the lobby, and I can tell you the running order for this evening. So, the way this works is you can see some of the teams are on their outlaps now already. We have the AGT team in front of us. It's 1 lap, as we've already mentioned, and they're going to run in reverse championship order. So our bottom team in the standings at the moment, out of the 6 teams that are running, are the AGT drivers, and they will be running first with Perlita and Manu Ortega. We then have the all-changed lineup from last week of Thunderlight Sim Racing, who are currently sitting on 17 points. It will be Alvaro and V Castro for them. Then we have the last team in this split, who currently sits in Bronze Rocket's position. That's my team, Esports, being run by Kitso, who's actually running in front in the Aston Martin. That's not something we've seen too often. DEFCON and the Megane in behind them. Alien Motorsport have had a difficult start to life compared to the expectations they've had. Mehdi Hafidi is at the wheel of the Aston Martin alongside Maka in the Renault Megane just behind them. They're in the Silver Rocket slots as things stand with 20 teams championship points. Currently in the pit lane at the moment, we have Azteca Racing Motorsport, who occupy the top spot in the Silver Rockets at the moment on 28 points. Diego Rojas running ahead of Brea, and then our top seeds in this split. So the team that will be running last as things stand from qualifying, it is Racing Green and Alu of the Freem Esports team, who currently sit third in our championship, or joint second, I should say, on 40 points. So here we go then. The AGT team will be the first team out, and they are just heading through the chase just now. So maybe, Yomas, you can take us through a hot lap of one of the most well-known and notorious circuits in this game in Bathurst, on board with one of our AGT drivers.
Yep, we are on board with Manu Ortega. I'm going to tell you straight away, I don't remember the corner name, so that's going to be a great time. So thank you very much for that. And we have the Aston Martin following the Megane, as you mentioned. Most of the teams are going to do that. They're entering turn 1, which is a 90 degrees left corner. There's a bit of a camber inside it, but if you go too much on the inside, the curb is really, really aggressive, and you can unsettle your car very easily. As we can see here, there's a bit of bump draft between the two teammates. Considering the long straight lines, it is obvious that they would do that. And it's the Megane that's going to make the heavy lifting in the mountain. We're going to enter the mountain section, as I call, because we're going to go uphill with a long right-hander. You really throw the car in. You hope it sticks a bit. Maybe you clip a tiny bit of the curb and you make it rotate and hit the curb on the outside. Then the double left-hander, you sacrifice the first one, you go as fast as you can and to have a very good line and an exit of the second one. Then the traction is going to be key, and this is where it matters. Maybe in Group 4 it goes flat out on racing softs. Again, I didn't try, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them go flat out on all the left-hander. Being careful about the curb here on the exit because you can make your front lift. And then one of the most critical parts, the downhill section. Right now, Ortega just got some dirty tire on the right side, so it's going to unsettle the car. Just really lick the walls, but not on the left-hander. If you cut too much, it's going to be a track limit penalty because the cars are just slightly narrower than the part outside of the track, so you can be just on the edge of the wall and you get a track limit penalty. Then the long back straight. Sadly, Mamani Ortega is way too far to actually give bump draft now. Even if the Aston Martin has more power compared to the Megane, he's too far away to actually give a bump draft, or maybe right at the end of the straight, but I'm not even sure. Then it's going to be about a 150 meters braking zone. You're going to see on the right, a bit later because it's racing soft. The chicane, left, then right. You really try to enter as fast as you can in the left and make it stick on the right, flat out. It must go, otherwise it's a few tenths already gone. The last corner, it looks like the first one, but it is not, because there's not that inside camber, inside banking, I should say, and it doesn't help the car out. And that's it's very close in the end. It's 214.4 and 214.5 for both of the AGT.
Now let's go across to the Thunderlights team who are just heading across the line. Now that gap between the two drivers has gone down drastically as the lap has gone ahead, and they go 13.8 and a 14.1. Fantastic effort. We were seeing about a low 13s for pole position is where you want to be as the My Team team head through the chase. Big gap there between Kipso and Defcon, not necessarily something we've seen, and the Vantage being run in front. That's interesting as we head across the line now for the French team coming from the French Tour, making their Mach 25 debut. Kipso will do a 14.5 and it's a 14.8 for Defcon. That is really disappointing. Not where they will have wanted to be at all. Now we have the Alien Motorsport team led by Maka, Mehdi Hafidi in behind, in tow, up to the line now. It's a long run up to the line, down the front stretch, and it's provisional front row lockout, 13.3 for both drivers. That's about the lap times we wanted to see as the Azteca Racing Motorsport team head down the Condor straight now.
They head into the chicane. I didn't see the split time, sadly, so I don't know if they're like in advance or not, but they're still close together, so most likely the Aston Martin could still bump draft the Megane in the straight and give some advantage. That's key in qualifying. It's not a solo effort, it's actually a team effort in that format, which is something we're not used to see.
now. They come up to the line now, and they go 3 and 4. It's a solid effort, but it means it's all down to the Sim3 Esports team to see if they can oust Mehdi Hafidi from pole position. A pole time that's only 0.004 of a second off the fastest.
That was
as Green
deep.
goes into the grass. Green goes into the grass through the chase, and that could ruin his lap. It's all reliant on Alu from here. You feel the Italian, the only driver to run the BMW M4 in this session. He's all sorts of sideways down the final corner. We go up to the line now. Can the Italian oust Hafidi? No, he can. It's only 6th and 8th for the Sim3 Esports team. That is not where we're used to seeing them in this sort of competition. The top seeds, the reigning champions, have a disaster of a qualifying session by their standards. But it is Mehdi Hafidi on pole position here for race 3 and a front row lockout for Alien Motorsport. That is how you rebound from a difficult first race of the season last week.
And during these laps, I had sound issues, so I'm sorry about this. The sound broke. I had to redo it on the fly. So I'm sorry about this. You missed all the V8, the V6 turbos, and V6 naturally spirited, I think, on them again. But yeah, I'm sorry about this. Somehow it broke. All the tests went fine, and obviously when you're live, it breaks. Usual stuff. So I hope it's gonna stick now. You're gonna be very kind. Make the El Gato sound to stay here. Thank you very much.
We've already spoken about the bonus point system quite extensively here. In the series, we go off a really interesting format that rewards pole position. So Mehdi and the Alien team will gain a bonus point for pole position. There is also an extra bonus point for the fastest pole position overall across all 4 races. At 13.315, Mehdi will be disappointed to hear this if he doesn't know this already, is only 0.004 of a second off of the fastest pole time we've seen so far, set by Flexi in race 1 on Monday in the BMW, meaning by 0.004 of a second he's missed out on that provisional extra bonus point, and that bonus point be the difference between a Golden Rockets and a Silver Rockets berth at the end of the regular season in a few weeks' time. But take nothing away from the Alien pair, they've done a fantastic job there. And spare a thought, actually, for the Azteca team as well. We've spoken already at length about how teams like to be bunched together off of the race start. A second row lockout is very good for Azteca, in all honesty, because it means the 2 drivers can work together from the start, and one driver doesn't have to work their way up the field as the race goes on to get close to their teammate. But watch for the race start as we see potentially, like we saw on Monday, the Renault cars come forward like a hive of bees and swarm the Aston Martin cars heading down the back straight towards turn 2.
So what we can expect then is Maka flying off the line and Mehdi holding the fort behind, trying to give him some advantage until they eventually come back together. I think that could be a plan for them. One to go up front and the other one to really block if they can, because there's other Megans behind, so maybe they're gonna jump out. That's gonna be interesting, maybe chaotic too.
Yeah, it will be. All the race starts so far have been chaotic. I think if you're racing at Bathurst in, categorized race cars like we are here in Group 4 cars, I think a chaotic race start is basically a guarantee.
Yeah, pretty much. Whenever it's not rolling start, it is chaotic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so something I'm sure you'll be well experienced with, but we're seeing the order there now, and there are some big shocks. If you started this evening predicting my team locking out the bottom row, I'd be very impressed indeed, because for a team of their experience and their nous, they're obviously very well known in the French Tour, and Kipto is a very, very quick driver, very fast Belgian. I did not expect them to be near the bottom. They are going to have a lot of work to do as this race goes on, because 13 laps can go like that.
Yeah, I think it's time to do a gamble on strategy, because they're so far back, they're going to be blocked at the start, so they can't really do anything, and they will be waiting things to happen, and by being in the back, they may be involved in the things that happens. So maybe they should either play the short or the long game, but not do the regular medium strategy, for example, because that, starting from so far, that is almost certain you're not gonna make it through the field on Bathurst. maybe through the slipstream, but you need to take risks. So the strategy will be key for them. I'm really surprised, but also to know that it's only 1.2 seconds from the pole position. It's not too far on pace. It's just that the field is stacked. Let's be fair, the field is very stacked. So 1, 2, or 3 tenths is already, 3 positions. So if you're a second off...
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And as we've seen, my team was kind of spread out, so they couldn't really do the slipstream bump draft game. So that's already a few tenths in the straight lines already. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting for them. They have the talent, they have the pace. I've raced Capsto way back then. He was already fast. I'm really sure he's still as fast and most likely even faster than me today. So I have all the confidence that he's gonna be at least on pace. Now it's to do the moves and actually make it through the field, and that's the biggest part.
Yeah, as Murray Walker once said, catching's one thing, passing is altogether another.
Oh yeah.
Especially on a circuit like Bathurst, where overtaking, you'll really have to be patient through that middle section of the circuit. It can get quite overwhelming at times. Now, I believe we're about to begin the race, so head to lights out just now. Come on. There we are. Yeah, we got there in time. We beat the bell. That's absolutely fine. Let's get going for this first race of the evening. First race of 2. It is an all-alien front row as we see Mehdi on the inside line and Maka on the outside. Expect the Renault to get ahead of the Aston Martin off the start as we watch the lights. There's 3, there's 4, there's 5. And who will be first at Bathurst? Let's find out as the 2 alien drivers get away well. And Maka's got a fantastic start, as has Diego Rojas. Those Renault cars really getting off the line well, as we predicted, as they're side by side for 4th and 5th in the background between Castro and Jose Brea. But Maka holds the race lead. Diego Rojas managing to get by into 2nd in the 2 Renault cars. Mehdi Hafidi has to hold on to 3rd as we head down the back straight. But they're all line of stern as we head through the field and towards turn 2. Moves being made at the back. But it's all very clean and tidy in this race start. Very impressive from all 12 drivers so far.
Very clean. I expected way more chaos in that first corner. Maybe they heard us. They weren't happy about what I said, so they played clean. But yeah, very, very good start from them again. You can jump a line basically from like car to another. So this is really interesting as a dynamic already at the start of the race, because now that's Diego who's gonna be able to block Mehdi in all the straight lines most likely, and maybe even hold back some more so he can't help Maka. Maka is going to be on his own. So that's interesting, especially as it's 1-3, 2-4. So it's a mix up of teams. And back in the field, it's still very clean. No one really off. I can't see on the map either. So yeah, so far so good. There's still almost 12 laps to go. And I wonder, because now, if they're very clean and very, very, very patient, that's going to be all down to strategy. Who's going to try to an undercut? Who's going to try an overcut? What about the fuel? So, many questions about this.
All 12 drivers starting on the medium compound as we predicted, as Mehdi looks to make a move on Rojas to restore the Alien 1-2, and he gets it done before the braking zone. So he's back up into 2nd. So Alien lead this race 1 and 2 at the moment. It's the Renault ahead of the Aston Martin. All 12 cars starting on the medium compound tyre. We expect the pit window to open around lap 6 for the medium strategy, primarily for the Aston Martins, although it may also be a safe bet for the Renaults as well. If we're looking for any teams, the likes of an AGT or a My Team, to take a gamble with their Renault and go on to the soft in the final stint, we can maybe hope for an extension to around lap 8. But really interesting to see, Mehdi's already pulled half of a second clear on Diego Rojas, and now actually the 2 alien cars are going to go side by side down the back straight. Maybe some coordinated team orders already. Worth noting, there's no drivers' championship in this. It's solely teams, so there's no need for these 2 drivers to be racing in any way. But Mehdi's managed to get out in front now, so that Aston Martin leads this one, maybe going to use that extra straight line speed in the first stint to hammer an advantage clear, whilst Maka plays the rear gunner in the Renault. But very interesting strategy, Carl.
What's interesting as well is they don't use the fuel the same way, both cars. So maybe the Megane of Maka, he's gonna use the slipstream of Mehdi to maybe actually streamline the fuel usage. Maybe he overused on the first lap, so he's gonna use the slipstream of Mehdi to get back in line within the strategy, because if he wants to hit the target, he needs the fuel, obviously, especially on this track. You can't just run on fumes and arrive in the pit lane. So basically, it's a team game with both of them, but there's 8/10. So maybe they're not doing that because 8/10 is already far for the slipstream. So maybe he's just flying away, and now Maka is gonna be the defensive line. It's interesting. It's not down to fuel. Like I see the revs like revving very far. Whenever it blinks blue, the turquoise blue, you're really using a lot of fuel. It's almost exponential. And as it's a Megane, he's vulnerable in the straight. See, he's all alone. Well, it's like NASCAR. You can't fight against the train of people bum drafting, and now both the Aztecas are in front of Maka.
Yeah, and that's really... Obviously, these guys will have their own strategy that they've thought of. That's why I'm a commentator and not a racer, because my knowledge of strategy is inferior compared to these guys. But trying to actually dig into their brains and seeing what they're thinking is really interesting, because from what I've seen on Monday, having the Renault as the rear gunner, because it's definitely the better race car out of the two. That's undoubted. If you look at the results of the first two races, the Renault consistently finishing higher up than the Vantage or the M4. So having the Renault as the rear gunner is a really interesting move. And obviously Mehdi having no slipstream and the Renault having the inferior straight speed, plus the Azteca cars being able to work together, that's resulted in both of them getting by. And look, they've pulled out by about half a second compared to the Alien car, and now it's actually Castro and Alu for Thunderlights and Freem who are right behind Maka. So Maka really dropping like a lead balloon here early in this one. That is maybe, probably not what he would have wanted whatsoever, but Mehdi has cleared out 1.2 seconds out in front in the Aston Martin of the Alien team. So really using that fuel up, maybe it's just going to be... Well, they'll run the simulations, of course. They'll have had to. They'll have done plenty of race prep through this one, and especially a driver, as qualified and as well known as Mehdi. But I am baffled by that move. It's really not something we've seen at all. Can Mehdi pull enough
and
of the gap out?
Vcastro off.
Goodness me, drama already. Sorry, I'm talking about Mehdi. What happened there? I'm not looking. I'm looking at Mehdi out in front.
From what I've gathered, maybe he got bum drafted right behind, or the car got unsettled on the curb, and he hit the curb on the exit of the corner before the downhill section, and that's a very tall curb. And on the Megane, which is pretty stiff in the suspensions compared to actual Group 4, which are based on GT4 cars. Like the Megane Trophy is kind of a prototype fitting into Group 4. So it doesn't react the same way on curbs, and I think he got unsettled and all drama unfolded. So it's 6 seconds behind Kipso in last place.
Yeah.
That's going to be a tall order to come back.
That is going to be a very difficult and such a shame, because he was looking really promising. He was hassling Maka for that fourth place there. The Thunderlights haven't got off to the best start this season. They're currently in a provisional Bronze Rockets position, of course. So that's really going to do them more harm than good, especially for the aggregate race time, which matters a lot with points at the end of this one. So we'll keep an eye out on that. But looking back ahead to this battle in front, the two Azteca cars using the slipstream to work together, they pulled back about another 2/10 on Mehdi, so that gap's now only a second. But the only reason I can think of Mehdi to do this, or the Alien car to do this, Mehdi must be thinking he can pull enough of a gap in front compared to these two cars, purely on pace, with the disadvantage of not having slipstream, to be able to make it up on fuel come pit stop time. Because fuel has been a massive factor. We have 8 times fuel, 5 times fuel multiplier, as you see on screen there with the overlay we've just put up. 5 times fuel multiplier. So it's played a massive factor. Drivers have swapped positions in the pit lane by virtue of having to top up for longer. But that's the only possible notion I can see of this. And if I'm Maka in the other Alien car, I'm really trying to catch up to this Azteca team. And what I'm trying to do is play disruptor. try and force moves, try and force him to go defensive, try and make Medi pull that gap out as much as possible, because he's 1.2 seconds clear, but when it comes to pit stop time, I don't think that's going to be enough when Medi has to go top up extra fuel compared to the two Azteca cars. So I really want, if I'm Alien, I really need to see Maka going out there and trying to cause disruption, because the Azteca cars are on a charge right now.
And the issue for Maka, right here in the straight line, is that it's the Aston Martin in front. He's not gonna catch the Aston Martin who also have the slipstream. So he can't disrupt them because he's not as fast as them or just on pace, but he doesn't have the car. I think the Megane is a very good qualifying car, but maybe the advantage here is a better race car to place yourself, defend, be an annoyance when Diego just went a bit wide in the chase. I think I heard you call that corner earlier. And
yes,
that just made Brea lose about a tenth or two, and he's more in the slipstream now. But I don't think he's in a position to actually try something on Brea. And Brea is also one who did World Tours. He knows how it goes. He's very, very smart when he wants. And I raced him. I know that. I know that he's very smart. He's going to place himself at the right place just to annoy the Maka who's behind. So I don't think Maka has the right cards in the hand. He's stuck here now. And Medi just flies off 1.7 seconds. He's just making his own race. Doesn't look back.
Yeah, he is hustling that car. Purple opening sector, even with the tyre wear about midway down. Bathurst is a really killer circuit on the front tyre specifically. So if we're looking at when we want to see drivers come in for those pit stops, we want to be looking at those front tyres especially, because it's really difficult for these cars up through the mountain section, really harsh on the front tyres with the weight distribution. So keeping an eye on those front tyres, they're about halfway down, and Medi is still setting purple sectors. He's gained about another 2/10 since we even last mentioned he was 1.7 seconds clear. He's now 1.9 seconds clear. You know, he did get onto the grass a bit there, a bit ropey through that particular section, but not at the loss of any particular time. But yeah, he's just running his own race, and Maka's kind of being cut astray. He is right on the back of the two Azteca cars, but again, and as you say, him being in the Renault and the Aston Martin having the superior straight line speed, this is playing into the hands of the Azteca team at the moment, I think. But it all depends on how far Medi can get clear from the two Azteca cars before pit stop time to see if he can make up the deficit on the fuel, because he does have less fuel than the other three cars behind him. But is it enough for that 2-second gap to come down through the pit stops?
That's a very good question. It also goes down to the refueling rate. This is something I haven't checked out, and I should have. But
I believe it's 5 liters per second. I'll double check that just now. It is 5 liters per second. Yes.
Okay, so it is reasonable. So, but that means 2 seconds. Even if he uses more fuel, he may still be in the lead at the when exiting the pits. And if he's still in the lead with more fuel, he can just hammer it down when the others may have to save fuel. So I think Medi already has a very good hand on this race. The pit stop, I was about to call it a pit stop window. It's not really a pit stop window. It's just the natural midway point of the race where people are going to pit. It's really interesting to see if Medi is going to come out on top or not. I think he will. It's not going to be 2 seconds. It's going to be maybe 1.5, 1 second, maybe less, depending, because he has less fuel compared to the others, so he needs to refuel more. So that's kind of a double-edged sword. But he has the pace, he's in control. As you said earlier, he's a world champion. So I think that's also maybe what makes the difference between Diego and Medi right now. He just that extra bit of space that Diego doesn't have, even with the slipstream. Well, not the slipstream, but the bump draft. Like, we have to remember, they both work as a team. And both of them, they can't counter Medi on his own. So, to me, Medi is like on his way to get the win, unless it's Bathurst. You can make a mistake, it can take a penalty. Everything can happen. Yeah. But right now, he looks in control, well sat on his chair, and comfortable. So that's going to be interesting. We're approaching the pit stop. Who's going to pit on lap 6? who's gonna pit on lap 7, and maybe who's gonna try to go up to lap 8. But I think if you don't have a Megan, that's done. And
Yeah.
one thing to consider as well is you do the extra lap. You have worse tires, but you're also a bit lighter. So what's the gain? What's the losses here? I would say, considering the tire wear, I think it's better to do the undercut. But maybe some will prove me wrong. But Mehdi goes into the pits.
Here we go.
The
Okay,
Aztecas
very interesting.
opposite.
They're
Maka
staying
into the
out,
pits.
Okay. Goodness me, real strategy difference here. Now, the Gran Turismo in particular, this strain of sim racing, the strategists will all have their calculators out and they'll be running the numbers as we speak. But my mental maths is good enough to tell me that 5 times 2 is 10, and that gap, so 2-second gap between Diego Rojas and Mehdi as we enter pit stop time means Mehdi is essentially, if he wants outlap pending, if he needs to top up an extra 10 litres of fuel compared to the 2 Azteca cars, if the Azteca cars want to reel him in, essentially. I've tried to describe that in the best way possible.
Yeah,
But what Mehdi's going to need to do, and look at that.
Interesting, very interesting, because Maka was behind the Aztecas. That means Mehdi is virtually around them. He's going to be heavier on fuel, but also new tires. And actually, also cold tires. There's something that is not shown in the game, but there's the tire temp. And the tires, from my knowledge, so correct me if I'm wrong, from my knowledge, are colder when out of the pits compared to the start of the race. That's a few degrees, but on some tires, it may be the difference. And that also means Maka is back into the slipstream of Mehdi, so maybe they can play again together, or Mehdi is going to run away. Who knows? But clearly, depending of what Brea and Diego will do during the pit stop, it's gonna be very interesting to see if they will underfuel. They could very well underfuel and control the race from the front. Remove 5 liters. Just catch them back during the last laps. If the both of them get stuck in front of Mehdi and Maka, they can very well control the race from this point, because if they play right the slipstream game and they just have a tiny bit of underfuel, they can use the fuel maps and everything in the mountain. No one can overtake. Use map 6 in the mountain. Block everyone. Map 1 in the streets. Map 6 in the mountains. That's how I would see it. Again, they practiced, I did not. So I just go on paper and my own experience. But that's very well something they can do. Don't use fuel when you don't need it. Use it when it matters.
Yeah, and both of the Azteca cars now including the Renault as well. Obviously, I think for both Alien and Azteca, the main game is just going to be stick with your teammate until the very end. Work together, use the slipstream, bum draft down the back straight, communicate using that party chat we spoke about earlier. So it'll be very interesting to see is that 2 Alien cars actually coming towards the line to start their 8th lap now. 2 Azteca cars just refueling now, so it's going to be close. But I think the Alien cars are going to have the advantage, at least according to the leaderboard.
Yes.
They're coming out of the pit lane now,
so
and they
close.
are, but it's very close. But by the time it takes the Azteca cars to get up to speed from exiting the pit lane with that pit limiter coming off, he's going to be around a second gap. Yeah, you see that 1 second, 1.1 seconds now, and that's really, really good for the 2 Alien cars, because that does mean Diego Rojas is pretty much out of the slipstream of Maka. So the 2 Alien cars now could pull clear. That's a really good sign for the Alien cars. That's exactly what they will have been wanting.
Yeah, strategy-wise, they are on point, clearly. And now it's gonna be a matter of Maka staying in the slipstream of Mehdi and keeping that position. And if he drops out, block as much as you can, so they will never be able to catch back. The Aztecas will have the advantage of the tires, and maybe they have a tiny bit more fuel actually. So that's going to be interesting to see if they maybe overfuel. They saw they didn't have the gap, so they overfuel a bit so they can crank up a bit more the power and not run on lean through some part of the track. So we're gonna see that. Diego's I was about to say chicane, it's not really chicane, but downhill S's were not so great. He lost a bit more time. It's 1.4 seconds. So that's the cold tire I mentioned earlier. Now they're about to be up to temperature, but they it's gonna be slippery for that first lap. They need to be careful about this.
Yeah, Brea was a bit wide through Forest Elbow as well, that little left-hand kink before the back straight, but with the slipstream he is going to be able to catch up to him, so they do get a bit of a bump there. Looking round the houses, you see we're looking a bit further back now, really enthralling battles going on, was particularly for 10th and 11th between Manu Ortega and the AGT car, and Kipso going attacking, trying to get round the outside. The Belgian driver, bit of a wiggle there in advantage for the My Team, and My Team really struggling in this race. Castro's obviously cut adrift because of his incident on lap 3, but looking at all the field, it's all 12 cars just going for that medium strategy, playing it safe, no real deference there, depending on the Megane or on the Vantage or per team. We did see some odd strategies yet on Monday, but there's a real battle here from 7th. So Racing Green, in fact the Simfree team in general, having quite a poor race by their standards. Alu in 6th, fighting Alvaro for 5th, and Green 4 seconds back in 7th, and under pressure from Defcon and Peralita of My Team and AGT respectively. So that's really not where Free would have wanted to be. They're currently joint 2nd of the championship with 92, but 92 are running later. 92 and Owls are top 2 in the championship, are running in the final race of the evening after this, so that's certainly one you won't want to miss, absolutely not. But they'll be looking at this and they'll be sort of rubbing their hands together, being like, you know, Freem are having a bit of a poor race here. Maybe we can take advantage of this and try and pull further clear in the championship, because this has not been a good race for them by their standards. But a really enthralling battle here for 7th. Meanwhile, up the road, the Alien car is now 1.3 seconds clear of the Azteca cars.
I am really surprised to see them so far, like the Freem, to see them so far down. Oh, that's a bit wide as well here. Oh, that's laggy. Are we losing Racing Green, or it's just one of these hiccups of connection? That seems more stable.
I think it's just a bit of... We'll monitor that as the race goes on, but it doesn't look like...
I was afraid we were losing him. I was really afraid we were losing him, like up in the wall and poof, nobody.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
As we can see on board, it's just a line of cars that Racing Green is actually holding. And interestingly enough, even if they're not from the same team, Defcon is working his own game, because he doesn't want to get in front of Racing Green. He doesn't have the car for this. So keep Racing Green in front and use his slipstream to stay in position, because it's Megane versus Megane, both in slipstream, so they basically nullify any kind of advantage. So even if they're not from the same team at all, that's kind of playing your own game to maximize your personal results, and I think that's quite smart to do so, and not be like, oh, it's another team, I need to overtake ASAP. It's not going to work out, you're going to be overtaken on the next straight. So work out with, it's the matter of finding your own allies in a race sometimes. You may not be of the same team, you may not even like each other, but sometimes you have to work together so both of you can get better results, and if you can, you push someone for the entire race, and on the last sector, you try to overtake that person. If it works, good on you. If it doesn't, well, you still kept your position and you didn't lose more than you would have if you try to overtake. Because trying to overtake, you're gonna be vulnerable. You're gonna lose speed. So that means Perlita, if I say correctly, I hope so, he's gonna be in a position where he can overtake maybe 1 or even 2 cars. So it's a mind game between the 4 of them. Kipso lost ground. He is about 1 second down. And Castro catch up a bit. He was more than 6 seconds. Now it's 5.5, but I don't think it's going to be enough. But it's a mind game between all of these drivers to... You're going to say it's only P7 maybe, but every point counts. It's a stacked grid. So you need to actually really make everything you can to even gain 1 more point. It can matter for your team, and especially like 3M, they have kind of a, considering what the team is from what I see on the outside, I think I would say it's a kind of a stinker. I would expect more, like from P5 and P7.
Yeah.
So yeah, just trying to. It's a bit selfish, but who isn't when you're competitive?
Yeah, for sure. 3 number 1 seeds for this tournament, reigning champions, such a stacked lineup, and some drivers. I mean, we haven't even seen Popcorn and Valerio Gallo yet, 2 of the best drivers in Italy and the world. It's an unbelievable line that they have, but they are well adrift of where they would have wanted to be. Meanwhile, Diego Rojas, fastest lap last time by, he isn't, let's see if he's able to improve on that now. No, he isn't, but crucially, that gap is now 0.6 of a second between the Azteca group and the Alien group. The gap is being reeled in, as Alien are being reeled in. This is all gearing up to another, like we saw on Monday, some of these races, a bit of a slow burner to start with, but I mean, really crescendoing at the end with some fantastic drama. We saw a last lap pass for the win in our final race yesterday with the Elite Racing Squad driver Nixo getting by Chouse, one of the customs drivers, and it's gearing up towards very similar now. 3/10, they're basically on each other's gearbox at this point. It's Medi ahead of Maka, ahead of Rojas, ahead of Brea, the two Alien drivers ahead, but they have the disadvantage of tyres and fuel compared to the two Azteca cars, who can now crank it up to 11 and 1 qualifying laps to the end in an attempt to take home the win, and perhaps even the 1-2 as a result.
And I think that fuel advantage may be very well a factor here. Sadly, sadly, quote unquote, it's the Astons are on both ends of the train. So one can control and the other can't attack. So it's Megane versus Megane. Both have the slipstream. So it's going to be a matter of tires, and we know the Aztecas have one less lap of tire, which is quite significant. And they have more fuel. So in the straight line, maybe they can stay in map 1 when Maka will need map 2 at some point, or map 3 to make it to the end. Or maybe they overfueled, and that's another issue, and that's too bad because they may have been in front if they had the right amount of fuel. But yeah, you can see that the Aston gives everything it can to push the Megane in the straight line. It's really, really slow. It's very draggy too. But it's it's a tight train. If one makes a mistake, that's pretty much game over. Because you need to be 2 versus 2. If you're 1 versus 2, that's going to be a big issue on one way or the other.
Now, I think we've had an incident a bit further back involving, it's been a terrible race for my team. Defcon has now dropped 1.3 seconds back of 10th. He's now in 11th place.
Oh, yeah.
So we haven't been able to see what's happened there. Obviously, the cameras can only pick up so much at once. And with such an enthralling battle for the lead, why wouldn't we focus off sight at the very top? But with the beauty of the replay feature in Gran Turismo 7, we'll be taking a look at all the incidents post-race. So I will be sharing my screen to Yomas, like we did on Monday, and I will take a look at what happened on lap 11 there with Defcon. We'll definitely make sure to do that. Meanwhile, the battle for the front, there's moves being made. I think there's a bit of contact. Medi's in the wall! Medi's in the wall! What on earth has happened there? The Frenchman's dropped down to 4th. Oh my goodness.
And with damages.
The race lead. And with damage as well. I think there was a bit of contact between the two
It looked like contact. Yes.
Yeah, I don't want to say for certain. We'll verify that with the replay. But all of a sudden, Medi is now out of the battle for the race win. And we speak about time and again staying with your teammates, forming alliances, and crucially, Maka, even though he has the race lead, he's now vulnerable. He's now by himself. Meanwhile, the two Azteca drivers will be on the phone to each other on the blower. They'll be working together through the last lap and a half as we head down the hill, through the dipper and towards the S's. But Maka in front. Goodness, Medi cut adrift, and now the two Azteca cars look very much in the resurgence as they search for the race win. What drama here at lap 12 at Mount Panorama.
If you're Maka, you have one job to do, and it's exactly what he's doing, being the Minister of Defense. Medi is already 7/10 behind Brea. He blocked everyone in the mountain because no one can pass. So Medi came back, and Medi is on the charge. He got the pace, and he's got the car. So that's going to be very, very interesting when we have like a pass for the lead, because they're 2 versus 1. So now they're in front.
Oh my goodness! And in 2 or 3 seconds, how races can change. We've gone from a 1-2 for Alien to a 1-2 for Azteca. As Brea needs to defend for Maka here, he went very defensive, occupying the centre of the track, hogging the racing line through the final turn. And as we start the final lap of this one, it's Diego Rojas from Brea from Maka. Medi Hafidi's now back in this one as well, thanks to the fighting between the 4 drivers. It's role reversed from last time round as we start our final lap and head down the back straight. Rojas is 0.6 of a second clear from his teammate. There's a bit of daylight. Brea's looking all over the track. Maka has the inside line. He might get a bump for his teammate in Medi to try and boost his position. He'll have the inside. Breya going very defensive. Maka trying round the outside, heading in towards turn 2. Breya hogging the racing line, tight, holding the apex tight, and he's unable to get by. The two alien drivers going side by side now. Medi getting in front of Maka for third, and he can have a look down the back straight, down the Tondel straight, towards the chase for the final time, because as things clog up here, that's the only real overtaking opportunity left on this circuit. So the two alien cars will just have to be patient for now and bide their time.
Maka clipped the grass when braking. That's why he had to drop off. He just clipped the grass. And now Medi is gonna try all his best. I'm gonna go in on board for the aces because he can't overtake here whatsoever. But clearly, that's what I was saying right before. 2 versus 1, you're done. You can't do anything. And as soon as Medi had the mistake or the issue, maybe it's a train of bump drafts that went wrong just at the braking zone, then Maka could do nothing. In the Megane on top of it, aside being the Minister for Defense in the mountain. So maybe Medi can have Breya, but it's not even sure, because Breya has the slipstream.
It's a 7/10 gap between Rojas and Breya. Medi definitely does have the slipstream. He's right on the gearbox of Breya now. We'll go on board with him maybe as we head through to the chase for the final time. He definitely does have the slipstream. Breya going hard defensive on the inside. Medi opting for the switchback. Good defensive driving once again from Breya as two World Series drivers, past and future and present, collide. Heading towards the final corner now. It's looking like it's all over for the alien cars, because it's looking like it's going to be a 1-2 for Azteca. Flawlessly executed driving. Diego Rojas takes the win in the first race of the evening for Azteca with his teammate Breya behind him. P3 for Medi, P4 for Maka, P5 for Alu. But what a terrible race it's been for Freem, as Alvaro takes home P6, Peralita 7 and 8. Green will force him to the line, but Ortega will just get ahead. Green down to 9th, Kitso 10th, Defcon 11th, and Castro 12th. What a race that was, Yomas!
That was one hell of a race, clearly. I'm still wondering what happened in that lap 12. I feel like it was a train of bump draft going wrong. We're gonna go into the results quickly, just here, and the results here. But clearly, I think there is something akin to, because there were basically 3 cars bump drafting, and Medi was in front. So if the 4th car bump drafts, it's gonna push the 3rd car that's gonna bump draft, even if they don't want to, which is gonna bump draft P2, and that's gonna bump draft P1. The domino effect, and P1 can't do anything. They break on the limit. So they go into the wall, and then Maka stays in front, and he tries his best to really block everyone with the Megane during the mountain section, because no one can pass. It's a bit like Monaco. No one can pass. So yeah, that is really what I think may have happened. I just saw the end, sadly, but I saw some smoke and everything, which means there's contact. So we're gonna see that. But so far, provisional results. Both Aztecas on top with Diego and Breya. Then Medi, Maka, Alu. It's too small for me, I'm sorry. Alvaro.
No, sorry.
Pertila, Mani Ortega, Racing Green, Kipso, Defcon, and Castro. Castro sadly came back from 6 seconds to 2. So great effort, but not enough.
Yeah.
It was already dead in the water. So
yeah,
I'm curious to see what happened. There's a few things we can actually check up. I'm waiting your signal to go on the.
But absolutely, if you give me 2 seconds, I'm just trying to figure out
I'm counting.
whether I need to check. I've been making notes through the race of things we need to look at. I just want to check whether there is something else that we potentially need to look at further down the grid, or whether it was just, I was thinking there might have been some incident between Ortega and Green towards the back end of the race, because they fell back quite a bit, but I think that was just the natural degradation of the tyres rather than an incident on the final lap, because I did not expect to see him home in 9th, but I just think it was one of those races. But there was definitely a few things we can look at. And the first of which I'm spamming the X button on my controller right now to try and get up to lap 3, because
you
yes,
can do
here we are.
You can do L2 and go through time if you want.
You're a genius. You wouldn't think you used to play this game professionally, would you?
Maybe.
Phenomenal.
Or just read the patch notes.
Right. Okay. Now, I think, yeah, okay, here we go. I've got the first instant
Okay,
up.
I'm coming in. So this is here. Let's sharing screen. I see your screen. Back to this screen now. So I'm gonna keep
Awesome.
that one.
Right.
Yep.
Welcome to my screen. I'm in control now. Mwahahaha.
Oh no.
Oh no. Let's take a look on board with the Thunderlights car of Castro. Now, at the moment he's in P5. If you look in front of him, he's in the battle for P2 actually. You see Macabrea and Diego Rojas right in front there. Things are going to go very wrong for him. Through the mountain section. If I play the replay, Yomas, what's your instant reaction to this as we head up the hill now and towards the left-hand kink?
Driver mistake. I think so. Yeah. Too wide and the grass and losing it. Either that or hardware issue, but I think the grass just caught the car. Especially the Megane, as I said earlier, it's very strongly... The springs or the suspensions of the car pretty stiff. And then behind they can't do anything, really. It's just one of these incidents.
He got a big bump behind from Alu in the Freem car. I wonder if that gave him any damage heading through the left-hander now.
I wonder too.
Because Castro goes a bit wide, and then look at this. Both. And yeah, he got damage from that as well.
There's nothing he can do, really. Like, maybe like an evasion maneuver, but you can also end in the wall, so... Yeah, it's just bad place, bad position for Alumni.
Yeah, nothing he could have done there. There's no way they'd give a penalty for that. It's just one of those things that happens, I guess. But just
Welcome
very
to
unfortunate. Yeah, exactly. He did not have a particularly good race. Now, using my fancy L2 feature, which I've just been told exists, I'm going to fast forward to around about lap 11. Oh my goodness, I'm a genius. Yes, this is my team car of DEFCON, and he's side by side with Green at the moment. Does he fall back here? I'm intrigued because there was a big fallback for him. Is it a result of a potential move? Yes, and he fell right the way back towards. I think he got overtaken by Kipto as well through the. He was get overtaken by the Vantage.
Lifting as well. Yeah, lifting as well. There's no need to stay. You can stay in front to block, but with damages and all, I don't think it's necessary.
So, was this a bit of netcode here, or was that actual contact? I'm intrigued to see. Oh, that's
grass.
close.
Clip the grass as well. Just
that can be it, and I think that's maybe what happened further down the line as well. I think it was Mako on the final lap of the race. We'll get one more look at it from DEFCON's point of view. Yeah, it gets into the grass. Maybe a bit of netcode there as well from Green.
Just enough space, again, but yeah, it's on the line, and that's going to be down to the stewards to decide, which I'm very happy to not be part of it, because I know how sometimes it's very tricky. But yeah, it's just on what we see at least, it's just enough space to fit a car, or maybe just not enough by a few centimeters. That's a big question.
I'm going to try and pause it.
Pause it?
Yeah. We're going to act like the stewards.
Just stay paused.
Okay. There was a bit of contact there, I think.
Yeah.
You can just you can see he's really pushing it there. It's very impressive how far he's able to come. But is that too far? That's the question. That'll be up to the stewards to decide.
Yeah.
If you're a steward, are you giving that a penalty, or are you saying he's giving him enough room?
Can you go back on Racing Green? I want to see the inputs. No, it's straight. The arrow on the right, if you do it, it's gonna go frame by frame. Like
arrow. Right.
No, not on your this one, yeah.
Oh, they're going into each other. There's definitely some sort of network issue there.
I think it's one of these cases where there's just enough space, but network goes network.
Yeah, because like they are very clearly like inside. That sounds really weird. They are inside each other at a given point there. So I'm not sure if. Because obviously, I mean, these are two drivers from Britain, so the network could be a bit dodgy. Us classic Britons being as dodgy as we are, but no, it'll be. I think that's you could make a case for both there. I think that's extremely interesting to see because I mean, if you're DEFCON, you're obviously annoyed that you've lost so much time and position. But Racing Green might not have seen any contact from his point of view. That's the thing.
What you can
That's
see
the thing with online racing.
What we can see here, I'm looking very closely to my screen. The red dot is slightly going on the right, so he's not turning left onto the car. He's turning right to go to the corner. So it's not even an attempt to push him. It's just yeah.
I think DEFCON turns in a bit there.
Maybe
if you look at DEFCON's angle, I think he's turning in a bit on him. No, because that's when there's contact.
Yeah,
right there.
I would assume
straight.
netcode. I would assume netcode.
Yeah, that's why I think. That's good. That's a difficult one for the stewards. Very difficult.
I've got the word that the lobby for race 2 has been created, so maybe we can go directly to.
I'm
12
thinking,
quickly.
Yeah, we will because I mean, there's about a 15-minute delay between lobby being created and the qualifying starting, so we do have a bit of time to play with here.
Oh,
but we will.
You are friends with Granada. Congratulations! Let's go!
Well done, you. Gran Turismo people having friends. I never would have thought. Right, let's use our nifty feature. There we are, and skip over to lap 12. This is the battle for the race lead.
Yes.
That's not the battle for the race lead.
Let's see Mehdi. What happened?
It is Mehdi who's cut adrift here. He's got the race lead at this moment in time, but it all goes horribly wrong for him. Is there contact with his teammate? Has Maka committed the cardinal sin of racing? Rule number 1, don't make contact with your teammate. Let's find out if he did. On board with Maka, in the Renault. You can see that gap is closing really quickly. Does Mehdi get onto...
Oh no!
Maka.
No. I
the
think
cardinal sin of racing.
Maybe the stress of having both of them behind. He looked behind and missed the braking point.
I'm interested. Where is Maka braking compared to where Mehdi is? Can I go a bit further forward? No, there's the incident. Okay, right. I'm just going to spam. 2 seconds.
You can play a bit. Like there's a bit of time between. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
You can stop about now.
Yeah, because the conventional braking point, like if you ever watch a lap guide of the circuit, is that little path on the left after the 100-meter board. That's 100%. Roughly where you're looking.
So Mehdi.
Thank you very much to Mr. MCA for that. See when the brake lights come on in the Renault.
No, that's way too late. That's way. There's a bit of netcode to take into account, so maybe he was braking a few tenths before. But that's compared to Mehdi, that's way too late. I think he was watching behind and then, oh damn, my braking point. Where is my braking point? Oh, it's behind me, and couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that is. So he's braking just before the 50-meter board.
That's too late.
That path is like a solid 25 meters behind him.
Yeah, the path starts at 95 meters.
Right, so he's massively misjudged. Mehdi can probably give us an idea for the uninitiated as to where the regular braking point is, I suppose. Because I imagine he'll have got his lines pretty bang on because he was an innocent bystander there. So let's see where about he's braking compared to Maka.
I think that's the shadow before 50 with net. Oh,
yes, right at the end of that path. That's about where you're supposed to be braking. Maka's braking about 25 meters further forward than that. I think it is just. With the tension of the race, like you're battling for the win here, your teammate's right in front of you. Maybe he's probably just thinking, "Oh, don't hit Mehdi, don't hit Mehdi, don't hit Mehdi,"
and then
he
you
just
do
makes
it.
His breaking point. Yeah. It's
the more do you think of, don't do this, you're gonna do it because you're only thinking about this. So somehow you're gonna end up doing it. So yeah, that's.
Let's just very quickly see that one from Mehdi's point of view. Oh, I'm in the lead. Oh, I wonder what's going to happen. Oh, no.
Nothing he can do.
Mate?
Nothing he can do.
And the good news for the stewards is, because if we're taking one good thing from this, because that probably cost Alien a shot at the race win, because now Maka's vulnerable up front by himself. If there's one good thing we can take from this, it's the stewards don't have any work to do. because it's an intra-team issue.
Yeah, literally. I mean, you can maybe penalize, but I don't see why. Also, depends on the regulations.
No, it wouldn't.
Depends on the regulations, but they both lost out. One got damages, the other one was vulnerable, and they both lost out. So I think their penalty is kind of self-inflicted. But again, that's also down to regulations and how they want to enforce it. I am not in the Steward group, and I wish them good luck.
I do not envy them. As I said, I was saying at the start of the stream, I do not envy Nico Romero at all. I'm sure he's a lovely man. He's a very quick driver, but being a steward is a very difficult job altogether.
Yeah,
now,
and no one agrees with you. You're going to say A, everyone's going to say, no, it should have been B, and then you do B. No, it should have been A. No one's going to be happy.
Win.
You can't win. Yeah, I know that firsthand. You can't win. It's just you have to do what you think is right, and do it the best, and that's pretty much what it is. And also refer to the regulation. And if regulation says this, then it is this, and that's it. No, not too much leeway. But yeah,
right.
So I was wrong.
Last thing.
I was wrong on how I've seen that.
Last thing I want to take a look at before we take a look at the aggregate time standings. You can see the top 6 in the bottom left, but we'll get the expanded image of that before we join the next lobby and start qualifying for race 2. This is the pass for the win. Let's take a look. Back out front, 2 Azteca cars behind, and it's just the case of working together. You can see the bump draft there from Brea.
Yeah, nothing he can do. It's just like NASCAR. If you're not in the right train, you end up by yourself. The train's gonna pass because they just have the slipstream and you don't. It's kind of having. It might be a weird comparison. It's like having nitro. So yeah, you can't work against that, especially in the Megane. Literally, like you have the worst car in the straight, and you have another Megane with an Aston Martin pushing it. No chances.
Okay, well that was all for. I mean, we can watch the final lap. There's no real point. There's no real. But I mean, there is a battle here actually. Maka trying to get by Brea. I think at this point, Alien have kind of accepted that the race win's probably far out of their reach, and they just need to get by the Aston. Maka and Medi in behind. I think Medi actually gave Maka a push to try and get by. He got on the grass, went wide. Medi went through, and that was basically Alien's run from them.
Yeah.
So, how does this, and Yomas, you have the answer to this with your magic overlays and all of that.
What magic? It's not my overlays.
David from Mac 25's overlays, I should say. How does this affect the aggregate race time standings?
That's a good question. I mean, I can go on it. Okay, let me try. It should be this.
Yes, good job.
Let's go.
You're a natural. Fantastic. So
I was afraid it was exploding somehow.
Azteca with the 1-2, but it's still not enough to oust Visceral from the top aggregate time so far, and 15 points in the championship that come with it.
I'm also trying to join the lobby in the meantime.
Well, I'll keep talking.
Yeah, go on talking because the game is so small as well. I don't see.
It's all good. So as well as the Azteca team, Alien fitting right in third position with a 59.35, only about 2 seconds off of the Azteca team, about 4 seconds clear of the race-winning Elite Racing Squad team yesterday. Race won by Nixo there. Other teams from this lobby that have gotten into the top 12 thus far, Freem, really difficult. The best they're going to be guaranteed is P8. Not what they would have wanted to see at all, but it does put them ahead, crucially, of one of their main championship rivals in Vanquish Esports. So as we say, we're about to see the top 2 in the championship battle it out at the moment in the same race next. Owls and 92 Esports will be rubbing their hands and licking their lips, because their 2 main championship rivals have had an off day. They're going to need to capitalise, and capitalise they will try and do. And then the other team from this split to make the top 12, AGT drivers as well, slotting into that 12th position. But we still have one more race to run, and it is the final race of the evening and of the week, and it promises to be a big one because, as I say, the top 2 teams in the championship will battle it out alongside 4 other teams who we'll introduce in due course. But as we head to the lobby now, perhaps with the can we switch the screen over to the lobby? I don't know.
Yes, they are actually on some laps. I see some liveries not loading, so that's gonna be it. I see the thumbnail. So it's there, but it's not loading for some reason. So
I think that, so we had an issue with that the other day, and Jens needed to go out and leave the lobby and clear his cache, I believe.
Should I do that quickly, or because they were waiting on us already?
Alt tracked check lag. I think they're running a lag check. Maybe that's why you've not got deliveries up. Maybe there is a bit of lag in the lobby. We might have to do a lobby reset at one point. Because I'm not getting deliveries either.
There's 4 liveries I don't see. I'm not seeing, like, on purpose it's not on the stream. But yeah, there's 4 liveries I'm not seeing. So
what I can tell you very briefly, whilst all this admin is happening with Garnata, just checking, I can tell you some of the teams and drivers that we're going to see this evening. 92 Esports are the first team on my screen, so we'll run with them first.
I mean, you have this.
Now. I thought we were doing.
I mean, I can put it back on. Okay. Like if you were to present.
Okay, cool. Okay, I didn't expect this. I need to be quick. Oh my goodness. Owls, Twitch Woo, Owls. They're the first team. Debuting, pole, fastest lap, race win last week alongside Jose Art. They've got a fully changed lineup this week by Jim and Gunza, the all Spanish team. They are the championship leaders by 4 points ahead of 92 and Freem after round 1. They'll be looking to consolidate their lead with another fantastic performance this evening. The second team in this split are Joker's E team. It was an eventful event for them last week, with Pando finishing 7th. Javelton messed up his qualifying. The 2 drivers came in contact. Javelton started last and was unable to get going. He finished 11th. This week they are running the Megan and the Vantage, like all the other teams apart from one. It's Tono Lopez and the handily named Joker Z team. I'm not sure who that could be, but that's the PSN ID I've been given. Anexion Racing team have had a disappointing start to the season. They came through the pre-qualifier. They made the finals at Poolpy last year. It is 10 points for them in the championship. They are 4th bottom after round 1, with a 40-second penalty being given to J-Rex, putting him well bottom. He's running tonight in the BMW M4, the only driver to do so this evening in this lobby once again. He's joined by Alex24, who didn't run last week. Mayix finished 5th in the first race last week. That's who he's replacing. 92 Esports had a 1-2 last week, with the Ghost Baby winning and João Pessoa, a very, very fast World Series driver from Brazil, taking pole position but finishing 2nd. He got the fastest. He did not get the fastest pole time. That's a lie. Pessoa is returning this week in the Vantage, but he's with a new Italian teammate in Nicola Fontana, who is running in the Renault Megane. The Deluxe Esports team, they're another team. They're in the red group this week. Jose Lito is running in the Renault Megane, and he will be joined by, oh my goodness, where are they? Gumu in the Aston Martin V8 Vantage. Last week it was Amplo who finished 5th for Deluxe, and it was, oh my goodness, where's he gone? Hockey who finished 11th. So they'll be looking for a marked improvement this week. And the final team we see in the lobby are Nexus, a team that none of us in pre-qualifying had heard of. But they managed to come through a very competitive qualifier, including an array of names who have qualified for Poolpy in years gone by, so they've done very well to do so. It will be for Nexus this week. Promo, who ran in the pre-qualifier, I believe, in the Megane, and Altavez in the Vantage. Nexus finished 9th and 12th last week with Cacho and Rob Kiben, so it was an all-changed lineup for Nexus as they seek to maybe push for a better race result than they got last time out. But they're outsiders, completely new to the Mac 25 ecosystem, so they'll just be hoping for a solid race position. I'll do a proper run through, all perfectly constructive and not ad hoc for you when qualifying begins. But for now, those are the 6 teams running in the final race of the evening and of round 2 of the InfinityGSeries. Are we able to cut to the lobby now?
Yes,
Thomas?
I think I have all the liveries. There's some I can't see because they're in the pits, but from what I gather, it looks fine. So let's have some footage.
Fantastic! So, again, I can confirm the team lineups for you as we're about to start soon. So that means, according to Garnata, so that means I'm going to have to do this same thing I just did 2 minutes ago again, but I can confirm that all the teams are running the combination of Aston Martin Renault, apart from Annexion. J-Rex, who had a 40-second penalty last week to put into last. He had an array of incidents. He was barely seen on camera, but he had plenty of incidents to talk about last week. He's running the M4 this week, and his teammate is running the Vantage. So no Megane. All the other teams are running the combination of Aston Martin Megane, as we expected. It's been the prevailing and dominant combination this week, apart from Vanquish, where Flexi did very well in the M4 to take pole position and to come home P2 in the opening race of the week, finishing just behind Legadas, Ignacio Legadas, very fast Spanish driver for Visceral Esports. But qualifying just about to get underway. So, as qualifying does get underway and all the drivers take to the waiting zone on the left-hand side of the chase in the sand pit, I am now going to do a more constructed version of the what I'm going to call the 16 rush. So,
I'm gonna tell you something.
When you're ready,
I have something different for you.
Okay, thank you.
We're just gonna talk about maybe the schedule as a whole. Like we have a.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah,
I can do that.
I still had that just in case. So we can talk about the schedule.
Right.
I don't have the dates, but we're right now on round 2 in Australia. Then we're gonna go to Italy. I think I heard what track it is. I don't know if I can see it, so I'm not gonna take the risk. Then
I think you can. I think because it's all confirmed in the regulations online.
Okay.
So I think you're okay to shout about it.
I've been told it is like a Maggiore East End. Like this very small one with the very, I don't want to say weird, but very oh, the sound broke again. 2 seconds. Okay, good. And just tech issues once again. And then it's a very technical track, a very small track as well. And I'm not a fan of it personally, but I think with the cars they may go with, that's gonna be lots of fun. And I heard there's a chance I may come back next week, well, next time, maybe. And
please, we need you.
Then we're going to go to Belgium. There's not many tracks in Belgium, so I'll let you guess. Croatia, Spain, United Arab Emirates, France, my own country, Austria, and then the United States. So we don't go to your country. But
no, we had that for the qualifier. We had Bramsatch for the qualifier.
Okay, that's fine then. You are all sorted. I like Bramsatch. I'm not so good on Indy, but I like Bramsatch. And
it's the only circuit I've been to in real life. I went to see DTM race there, so
that must have been crazy. That must have been crazy to see that.
It was really fun, really cool.
And then, as much as we talk about round 2 and everything, we also have round 1 standings. I wanted to show that earlier, but we kept on talking everything while the drivers are parking in the sand. That's a very weird thing to see on my screen right now. It's just, I think it's the Dakar coming in, but it is one hell of a sight. I'm taking a screenshot. It's too funny. And so we have like the teams, the 24 teams. It's the standings after round 1. So it doesn't take into account what happened on Monday, nor what it's happening right now. And we have the OWLS Esports, the old Esports, the 3M Esports, the 92 Esports, the Vanquish Esports, the Custom GT, and the Kraken Stains GT for the top 6. Then I leave the rest to you because you know more than me. Good luck.
Okay, thank you very much. I am honoured to be said I know more about Gran Turismo than a literal professional Gran Turismo driver. I'm joking. I know I can comment on the teams, most certainly. So the way the season format works is we have our 7 regular season rounds in which every group will play each other in various combinations. And after the regular season finishes, the top 6, so you can see they're highlighted in gold because they're going to qualify for the so-called Golden Rocket split to go for the title. Then the next 6, so positions 7 to 12, currently occupied by, however, after a phenomenal race today, I think that will change, Azteca Racing Motorsport, Elite Racing Squad, Hydra Wrench Sport, Team Monza Racing, Visceral Esports, and Alien Motorsports. That's extremely interesting. Fun fact for you, all 3 of the teams that have won races so far are in the Silver Rockets category as things stand. Extremely interesting. But they will no doubt be, I doubt they will be there come the end of the week, and we'll update the standings for you as soon as possible. Keep an eye out on Mac25 Gaming website, www.mac25gaming.com, for the updated standings once the stewards have done all their investigations, because there are 2 bonus points allocated for essentially a clean race bonus. So if you don't get a penalty, you're rewarded with 2 points. So keep an eye out for that in the coming days. Usually 1 or 2 days after the event is finished, we have confirmation of the standings, so keep an eye out for that. And then positions 13 to 24, so the bottom 12 teams, I'm not going to read out all of them because I'll run out of breath. You can see them on your screen. They will qualify for the Bronze Rockets for pride and position and points in the run to the main event of the Mac25 gaming ecosystem season in October at GT Pulpy, where I really hope, please Alejandro, I'll get to be there in person alongside my beautiful English commentator friends. But we'll see. I really want to see you in person. That would be really cool if you can commentate in person. But that's a discussion for another day, because the drivers are on track. They're nearly all out of the pit lane, so we can head to the track now.
They are getting ready, and I can tell you some, even on the first race. So let me go back here. Let's go. It all works fine. And then this all comes back. Yeah, that's it. The banner is going to be for the race, so it removes. But some people use what we called back in the days, but maybe it's still the same name, fuel burn. So it's what you do is you apply some brakes and you stay at max rev flat out. So it's kind of a balancing act to not have the engine go up, but just very, very high in the revs, and that's gonna burn your fuel, and you're gonna have way less weight on your
Yes, I'm seeing that right now. Yeah, with the Adexion cars, Alex was doing that very, very. Spamming the accelerator basically whilst braking, and let J-Rex and BMW by. So the BMW car, J-Rex is going to be leading the Aston Martin for the Alexion team. That's extremely interesting, actually.
So that means it's an advantage on the quali lap, because it's also kind of a balancing act, because as you go slower, your tires gets colder. So you need to put them back into temperature, but you're also way lighter. And with these parameters that I see, it can be maybe 15 liters if I take the 2 extremes. 15 liters, it's 15 kilograms. That's a lot in qualifying. Sometimes it can be maybe the gap between P1 and P5 from what I've seen in the previous race or the previous qualifying session. So it is something to take into account. So I know some ban it, but you see, like here they do it. So that's another thing they can play with if they want to. But maybe if someone is not comfortable with colder tires, they may not do it. But I think 10 to 15 kilograms is important to do, or important to not have during a quali lap. So that's another strategy, another layer you can play with or not. That's down to the teams, that's down to the practice sessions and all of that. But it's something to keep in mind, and maybe some didn't think about it. Like, I think the Nexus didn't do it, and maybe someone will tell them someday or that they can do it and maybe have less fuel and less weight for the quali lap. So that's...
Maybe they're listening to the stream right now.
Well, hello. Breaking zone soon.
Yes, slow down now. It's the Nexus team who are the first team over by virtue of being the lowest championship team in this particular lobby. Promo out front, who ran the pre-qualifier at Brands Hatch and was instrumental in getting them qualified. Alvarez, this is the first time we've seen him in this series. He's the one running the Aston Martin behind. A reminder, we're looking at about a 13, low 13 if we want to fight for pole. The Nexus cars aren't going to be anywhere near that. 14.8 and a 15 flat. That is not where you want to be at all. Looking at the NXT cars now, it's the BMW in front of J-Rex, who had an eventful 40-second penalty race last week. He'll be joined by Alex in the Aston Martin. they should be usurping that time. It's not particularly good times by Nexus, and they do. So 14 flat for Alex, 14.7 for J-Rex. Really quite slow times at the moment. Now we've been told this mysterious Joker's E-Team account running the Renault in front is probably Mace. So keep an eye on him. We'll refer to him as Mace through the race. Talking of race, he crosses the line. And it's not 2:15s. 2:15 laps for the Joker's team. Nowhere near where they will have wanted to be at all. Really slow qualifying times here. A reminder, it's a 13.3 is the fastest pole time so far for the extra bonus point. It's the deluxe team of Gumu and Joselito, a very Spanish sounding name, who'll be looking to maybe make a change to that in a bid for the extra bonus point. It's a 14 to beat. If they get anywhere in the 13s, they're on provisional pole. Gumu up to the line first in the Aston Martin. And not even 50, they're getting slower. Are we sure the lobby settings are correct? Coming up to the line now, it's the N2 team. Can Nicholas want to surely? That's more like it. 13.7, 13.9. Provisional front row lockout for N2. And the Owls team of Gunza and Baijim, two very established teams, two very established drivers in this series, are going to have a job of usurping that N2 provisional front row lockout, like we saw with Alien earlier on. Gunza ahead of Baijim through the final corner. Gunza in the grass.
Maybe second row. Maybe second row. No, pole.
Oh, pole position for Gunza at the very last. It's a 13.7. It's not an ideal lap. It's not going to be pushing for the additional bonus point. But as Alfredo Alonso himself predicted in the chat, it is Owls on pole position, with Gunza ahead of Nicholas Fontana in second for N2. It's 1-3 for Owls, 2-4 for N2, and it's Annexion cars of Alex and J-Rex. But with 2:14 lap times still being enough to put them on the third row. A very interesting qualifying session there.
What I find interesting is the front row are both Megans. They're gonna fly off.
Oh, very true. They're gonna have a massive gap.
Two Astons, another Aston, a BMW, a Megan, an Aston, Megan, another Aston, and another Megan. But yeah, row 1 is full of Megan, row 2 is full of Astons. So that means both Megans will go away, and the Astons are gonna block everyone behind. So we may have a 2-level race if they don't catch everyone doesn't catch back. But that's gonna be interesting. But and for 5,000, by the way, that team is just behind Nicholas.
And that 5,000 can be a massive difference, because if we're like what I'm predicting, what I'm envisaging in my head right now is Gunza and Nicholas fly off the line. Maybe a J-Rex and the BMW overtakes the 3 Astons in front of them, and then those 3 teams don't have their teammates by. They have to fend for themselves.
Yeah.
Whereas Baijim, Joao, and Alex, the 3 Aston Martin running cars in the top 6, they're going to be cut adrift. So we could perhaps, if I'm being optimistic about it, we can have a 3-team fight for the race win here. That'd be extremely interesting to see.
Or what they can try to do is something that happened more in the midfield earlier, but to have the actual top 2 working together. They're not from the same team, but they can work together to actually have a 1-2 almost guaranteed. And maybe on the last 2 laps, if they have a gap, they can try to battle the victory. That's another layer where they can play that, but they can't communicate. They most likely won't communicate. But it's something that's possible, but I don't think it's going to be likely. Maybe they will not work together and fight against each other, and their teammates are going to come back. And it's going to be whatever happens.
Looking down the rest of the grid, and we'll get the full qualifying results up, but it's very much team by team. So the 2 Nexus cars are occupying row 3. The 2 Annexion cars are occupying row 3. Much more like it from a team currently sitting 4th last in the championship. Then we have the 2 Nexus cars occupying row 4. When looking at row 5, it's the 2 Jokers cars. And then rounding out the back of the grid for row 6, it's the Deluxe cars. So
Yeah.
We talked about it a lot in the first race. Sticking with your teammate, running together, communicating, bump drafting, coordinating overtakes. For those bottom 4 teams, it's an ideal thing for them. Whereas for the top 2, it's all jumbled up, and with the 2 Megans expected to fly off at the race start, we could see all manner of things happen at the front of the field that expect a more structured pack at the back of the field until the final few laps of the race, when everything just goes chaotic and wrong and mad and But you get my point.
Yeah, I get your point. Don't hesitate to tell me when they start the race, because I can't see it as I'm on the result screen. But yeah, it is interesting, like that the first half is kind of mixed up and the second half is just a raw team. Or pretty much that. So yeah, it is interesting to see. It's gonna be 2 different races. Having the Megane up front is going to be such an advantage for them. They won't be blocked unless they block themselves in first corner and something happens. But if you're calm about it and you think the long game, leave the one on the inside to go and just go with the slipstream push. Try to maybe make the gap. If the gap doesn't happen, well, fight your way against the Aston Martins. But that's I kind of envisioned it, but again, I'm not the one behind the wheel. My wheel is behind this one.
Your wheel is gone forever, but no,
it still works.
Yeah, good. We'll see you back on the world tour soon.
No. Nope. I've done my time.
No. But maybe you and me maybe we could be the next Jimmy Broadbent and Tom Brooks one day. Who knows?
That'd be funny.
But that would be very funny. I think we'd probably get sacked within the first race. But one can dream. So we're about to get this race underway.
Okay.
We've been given the 1 minute warning from Garnata about 30 seconds ago. So call it a 30-second warning now. It is a row 1 of Owls and N2. It is a row 2 of Owls and N2, and then it's all structured behind. But the 2 Megans on pole, expect them to fly off. I think Gunza and Nicholas are going to have a massive advantage after the end of the first lap. The question is, A, how far back do Jim and Joao slip in the vantage? And if they manage to stay 3 and 4, can they hang on to the slipstream of the 2 cars in front, or is that too much of an optimistic thing to say? Let's find out. We're about to start racing any moment now. I'm really trying to hold off so Alejandro can just start this race by talking as much as I can before the start of this race. And it's Annexion occupying row 3, Nexus row 4, Joker's row 5, Deluxe row 6. I'm ready. Are you ready, Yomas?
I'm ready. I'm ready for chaos now.
Me too! I love chaos so much. That's why we commentate on this series. It is chaos.
Okay.
I love it.
So the final starts.
Right, here we go.
That's it. I'm just waiting a bit.
Here we go, we're about to get underway. It's the 2 Megans on the front row of the grid. Gunza for Owls has the inside line. Nicholas has the outside line for N2. False start with the... false starts are on. Lights are on as well. There's 3, 4, 5. And for the second time tonight, it is who will go first at Bathurst. I messed that up. Talking and messing up, the 2 Aston Martin cars have had a horrible start. The Renault's definitely in the ascendancy as Gunza heads through turn 1, ahead of Nicholas as expected, by Jim and 12 behind, but they're both in the grass, and already it's a 6/10 of a second gap as there's side-by-side action further down the field between Mason Joselito for Deluxe and Joker's E-Team. They're going to go side-by-side down the straight, but it's all, again, very nice and very clean through the first opening couple of corners. Very impressive from all 12 drivers.
Oh, we are... Oh yeah, you're still with us. It did cut out weirdly enough. But yeah, it is very clean. It is very, very, very clean. They did have a gap, which they don't have anymore. So there's no... There is no actual... there's no actual Megane going away, and the advantages are gonna be behind making the shield. There's none of that. So now it's just gonna be teamwork. P1 and P3 versus P2 and P4. Yep, they still are in the same positions. And I'm glad you're back, because I was afraid I was losing you at some point. It just cut out instantly midway through the word. So I was like, hello?
No, I'm just about alive. have a penalty. That's the first penalty we've seen all week. Genuinely. We've not had a penalty yet, but by Jim, there was always going to be someone that had to get the first penalty, and by Jim is unlucky. And look at where the slowdown zone is. Right at the Condor Strait. So in theory, it's a 1 second penalty, but in practice, that's going to be absolutely killer. There goes Shroud, there goes Alex. Is Promo going to catch him as well?
Yes.
I think so. The Nexus car is going to get by as well, and perhaps even J-Rex is all going wrong for Owls, and all of a sudden, Gunza has lost his rear gunner. That's extraordinary.
And Joselito goes for
As
it.
Joselito goes up the inside now.
Yeah.
Good move, very clean move from the
fighting
last car.
back.
Still side by side. By Jim really trying to get by. He has the inside line into the final left-hander on the circuit, so you'd imagine he'd get by. It's Aston against Renault, Owls against Deluxe. By Jim does get by and holds on to P7, but that is a bad start for Owls, and it's not good news at all for Gunza up front.
But I didn't get my chaos.
Hello?
I didn't get my chaos.
No,
That's
you
sad.
didn't get your chaos. You didn't. Not yet. We have plenty to bring you, I'm sure.
Not yet, but the two Megans are still in front. But now it's a 1 versus 2, and we saw how it happened last time. I wish good luck to Gunza, because that's not gonna be easy at all now, especially again in the Megan. All alone in the Megan against the Megan and Vantage. That seems like deja vu to me.
Speaking of, very impressive from Alex in the leading Annexion car and the Aston Martin, right behind Joao Pessoa, World Series driver from Brazil. He's managed to get up into that main group of favourites. There's a 1.6 second gap between Alex and Promo in the Nexus car, who's managed to get up to P5 off of the start. He's probably having a nosebleed from being this high up as the next. We haven't really seen Nexus run this high up at all this season. Very similar to what we saw with EPLF on Monday, very much outperforming where they were expected to be, but that's just the power of the Renault off the line. He's done a phenomenal job to get up to P5, but he's crucially 1.8 seconds back from Alex, so we could expect something along the lines of Trilly Train, kind of, if we look back to, 2000's Formula 1.
Oh, Yard Truly. Oh boy.
So J-Rex and Bijim in the Owls car is right there. They're really going to want to get by in as quick as possible. I believe there's been an incident further back, and it's the other Nexus car of Altavez, who is now 6 seconds behind, right in the back.
With damages in the back.
So definitely a form of incident. Yeah, I saw the green flag being waved by one of the marshals, so I assume there was a yellow flag further back, and it's probably for the Nexus car as well. We'll get a look at that in the post-race replay as well. So lap 2 for Altavez, that's our first incident of this race. You got your chaos!
Yeah, I got my chaos, and Bijim already overtook Promo. Now the next one is J-Rex.
Yeah, he's eyes forward.
Forceful.
Very optimistic. J-Rex all sorts of sideways in the BMW. Just about keeps it out of the wall, but that affords Bijim a half a second cushion as we head down the back straight to lap 4. I still imagine there's enough slipstream for the BMW to perhaps get in, and that's not going to help Bijim at all, running out onto the grass at the start of lap 3. And J-Rex will probably reel them in down this back straight now towards turn 2.
Meanwhile, Gunza is still in the lead somehow.
And I tell you what's interesting. For the first time this evening, and only the second time all week, we have a soft tyre starter.
Oh.
And it's Joselito in the deluxe Renault, currently running P8 with his teammate behind him in P9 and Gumu. We saw that with Alvarito in the EPLF Renault on Monday. He was running 5th until a final corner incident blew it for him, and he ended up dropping down to 9th, perhaps P10, because as I say, there was some dodgy defending with one of the Avalon cars right at the end, so perhaps a penalty incoming. But interesting to see how he plays that. He's not made the gains he probably would have expected. I mean, the deluxe cars did lock out the back row, and they are now up to P8 and P9 ahead of both of the Joker's cars plus Altavez, who had that incident. But really interesting to see how those soft tyres work and when we can expect to see Joselito in. Probably around the back end of lap 5, I would say.
Do you think it's a mistake?
To see how that goes. I don't know, because Alvarito ran that really effectively. I think Alvarito made a mistake because he was a bold choice going for but he ran it well, and he ran it well until the final lap. He made it work. We'll have to ask him. We'll have to see if we can find a way of maybe contacting see if it was a mistake. But he's just going to have to go with it now. Yes, Deluxe, please contact us, please. Fiddly Williams, 23 on Instagram. But no, they're going to have to make it work here. Somehow, it worked until the final corner of the final lap of EPLF. It's going to have to be similar for Deluxe. Maybe a mistake, maybe a master plan. Let's find out as this race progresses. But as we start lap 4, it is Gunza in front from the two N2 cars, and Alex still holding on to the back of Pessoa in the Annex C on Aston Martin car. A good effort from him after a difficult start to the season. For one of the favourites, for one of the my dark horses coming out of the pre-qualifier, they made the finals at Pulpy last year, but they had a dreadful start to the season at Deep Forest, and they'll be hoping to make amends this week.
Do you think, I have another question then for you, do you think Nexus is fuel saving behind Gunza?
Where is this? Nexus.
I think they actually do. They won't try to overtake
do you mean
on-drive.
Do you mean N2?
N2, sorry, 92. I don't know why I'd say Nexus. I saw N, I was like, okay, Nexus. Brain works very well today. But yeah, sorry, so 92. Do you think they save fuel behind Gunza and trying to overtake him in the pits?
I think that's the plan. So like I in real life motorsport, my sort of special subject is Formula E. So I'm quite qualified to talk on these peloton sort of races. And a lot of the time, it's actually, and especially in a format like this, with the slipstream effect and the fuel being on a high multiplier, it's quite tight, but it's still it's a bigger multiplier than they had to deal with last week. It's often better to not lead these races, if I'm honest. Like, because you have the slipstream, your fuel saving. Gunza, what he's currently doing is he's punching a hole in the air for the two N2 cars behind him,
exactly.
And that means they could lift off earlier. They could fuel save. There's no. Aerodynamically, it works best for them, essentially. That's how it works. It's the best way I can explain it as a non-professional.
But
I think that's the plan. Okay.
I have another question, maybe more tricky to answer. Do you think they do that on purpose? Not so they only win the race, but they also get the best time of the race, the best.
Yes.
Don't
because
fight.
We spoke.
You're gonna lose time by fighting. So just if you're P2, unless you have a golden opportunity, just wait, save fuel, overtake in the pits, and then run away, and try to get the best race time.
We've seen that in all three races so far this week. At the front end, it's all started really clean, and then it sort of crescendos at the back end, because obviously, as well as your aggregate timings as important as they are, points make prizes, as they say. Yeah. So the higher up you finish as well, the more points you get. It's as simple as that. So, but like all that infighting, it has cost teams before. So like 92 finished P1 and P2 in their race at Deep Forest last week. It was Ghost Baby and Pessoa, but they were still 4 points behind Owls in the teams championship because they had only the fourth fastest aggregate time, whereas Owls had the fastest. So that I think it's a big lesson to be learned, because 92 found out the hard way last week that 1-2 doesn't necessarily mean everything if you're fighting through the entire race. So It's interesting to see a more measured approach from them this week. I think patience really is the name of the game, especially in a format like this. Meanwhile, very quickly, further down, we've had another incident, and again, we've not caught it on camera, I believe. It's one of the Joker's E-Team cars of Tono Lopez, the Portuguese driver, who is now 2 seconds back off of Altamez, who had an incident earlier in the race. I've noted it down in my little notebook, so we'll get a look after the race is finished. But 2 early incidents, and in a format like this, with as talented drivers as we have here at Map 25 Gaming, some of the best drivers in the world, one incident will cut adrift from the entire pack, and it's really difficult to be able to catch back up. And we saw that in the last race with one of the Thunder Lights cars. Castro was unable to catch back up in P12 after a lap 3 incident.
And then I was watching the tire wear of Joselito, if I try my best Spanish ever. And it's their tires are dead. Can't make another lap, and good move, but he's gonna be blocked to enter the pits now.
He's gonna be blocked from the pit lane. Oh my goodness me, he's gonna have to slow right down. Oh, there might be contact between the two.
No, he managed to go through. Don't overdo it in the chicane. You can really take an easy penalty, and that's the pit stop for Joselito. But yeah, lap 5, as you said. So that means way too many laps for me to count to do on mediums. 8, thank you.
13 take away 5.
My calculator, hello? But
statistics degree right here. But no.
Yeah, I use computer for that, not my brain. But yeah, Nicolas and Huao, sorry, I'm very bad with the names. They stay behind on purpose now. I've seen Nicolas do some lift and coast behind Gunza earlier in the previous lap, and yeah, it's on purpose to stay behind and to overtake Gunza in the pits, and then hammer down the lap time. And the least fighting you do, the more time you can have. That's also another layer of this competition. It's just not a matter of winning, it's a matter of winning fast. And as you said, if you win by having a battle of 13 laps, you may end up very well 13th in the end. So that's a mind game, another mind game, as if we didn't have enough. So yeah, it's interesting, but also
I'm intrigued to see if you're Gunza in the Owls car. Do you, like, say you're in this situation? Would you think about lifting off down this back straight and letting one of the N2 cars by to get back in the slipstream and feel safe? Or do you think the risk is too high and you end up risking being cut adrift from this main pack?
I would say force an overtake. But maybe force is not the right word, but open the door. Lift and coast early, so they will be tempted to go, and then you will get the slipstream. But if they don't, and everyone goes to the pits, Gunza, Nicolas, well, almost everyone. I saw a car going...
Not Alex.
Not Alex.
Alex staying out. So the interesting strategy going for the overcut.
With the tires, it's... Oh, the tires are not looking so pretty either.
He is going to have to pit at the end of this lap.
Yeah, but the lap time is going to be terrible.
Yeah, he's going to have to put in the in lap of his life. I mean, the three lead cars, by Jim's also coming as well, and the other Owls car whilst we're keeping tracks on him. They are going to have cold tyres, and the hope is for the Annexion team, like the Azteca team did before, in the previous race, having the extra tyres and the fuel in the final lap of the race will make the undercut for the other two drivers worthwhile for him at the end of the day, because we saw that. So both the Azteca drivers came in at the end of lap 7 rather than the end of lap 6 in the first race, and they ended up using the extra tyres and fuel they had to overtake the Alien cars at lap 12. Some of that was the own fault of the Aliens drivers, of course, but definitely having the extra tyres and fuel helped out. So I'm not sure whether Alex is planning that, but the difference is his teammate is 7 seconds behind. So he doesn't have the slipstream of his teammate, whereas the two Azteca cars did. They worked together, but Alex is the sole Annexion car out front.
And Gunza lost a position.
I'm not... interesting.
Yeah, because he refueled more. And Nicolas
do you think that's a strategy? Do you think that's a strategy from Gunza to get in behind Joao?
I think so, but it could be either deliberate or he had to refuel more because he used more on one end. So if you use more on the first half or as a whole, you need more refueling time because you're not as efficient. And the Aston might be a bit more efficient as well on the fuel because it's more powerful and you can have more modulation on the throttle, more engine maps. But now it's the issue is still 1 versus 2. By Jim is about 5 seconds back. There's no way, unless they fight, he's gonna catch up. I don't think he has the pace to come back.
Whoa! Oh my goodness! Alex was all sorts of sideways. He just about managed to keep it going through the pit lane. That chicane is brutal. He was nearly in the wall. That would have been horrendous.
I'm really curious where he's gonna go off. So where is? Okay.
Mace is staying out an extra lap in the Renault, so he must be going for the soft tyre strategy.
Yes, yeah, I think so. But that means a lot of overtaking to do.
Yeah, but we saw that in race round 1 actually. One of the Team Monza cars, Simo, did that, and he ended up working out well. But that has not worked out well at all for the Alexio car, has it?
Yeah.
Well behind now. He's
Alex
how far
lost 2
behind?
seconds.
1.5
I think
seconds.
in
1.5
total,
seconds.
yeah. In total, it's gonna be 2 seconds with a straight line and the cold tires. Yeah, losing out about a good second and a half with dead tires. But now he's gonna have better tires for the end of the race. Was it a good trade-off? I'm not too sure. It depends. If they fight in front, he might get an advantage. But they need to fight in front, and that's not guaranteed yet.
Sure. I mean, we saw that in the. I know it's an exaggerated version of it because it was the final lap of the race and all sorts of stuff was on the line. But even after Mehdi Hafidi had that incident with Maka at lap 12, by the time lap 13 ended, he was right behind. He was in front of his teammate because Maka made a mistake, but before that mistake down the back straight to start the final lap, Mehdi was right behind him because of the slipstream and because of the fighting happening. Now Alex doesn't have the advantage of the slipstream, but as this race reaches its crescendo, Gunza and the two N2 cars are going to start fighting for position, and that could invite Alex back in. It's a lot of time to make up 2 seconds, and the other Alex car above him is a further 3.5 second behind, so that's even more time to make up. But the fighting at the front could realistically bring Alex back in because we still have another 5 laps to run. This time by, I'm assuming Mason, the lead Joker's McGann, is going to pit in at the end of this lap, and I think he will have to, looking at those tyres he's running at the moment. There's not great wear on them at all. He's 12 seconds clear of Joao Pessoa, but he'll drop back by the time he comes into the pit lane. So we'll keep an eye out on his progress on the soft compound. But I wouldn't say Alex is out of this one at all.
No, he's not. But it needs to go in his favor as well. He's a bit far. Has the tire advantage, but is it worth 2 seconds? I'm not too sure. Behind, it's really, really clean and they're quite spread out. So I don't expect anything happening aside a mistake. Sadly, the 2 last are very far away from anyone, so they're just gonna have to get back to the finish line, really. And now everyone has went to the pits. And still that mind games of 2 versus 1 for the lead. So I'm not too sure how it's gonna pan out. But Gunza is really not in a good position, and if he makes a move, it's gonna have to be a move on the final lap. Otherwise, they're gonna team up again, as we see in the first race, and they will literally pass by like a train, and there's gonna be bye-bye. Enjoy your P3 and not your P2. So
yeah.
Is it a matter of trying to win or securing? Oh, a daring move from Gunza. Wow, it never works here. It never works here, and somehow he made it happen. Maybe because of the chassis of the trophy, and he saw it was a weak point of the Aston Martin. But what a daring move, and it's interesting to try to get into the lead on lap 9 out of 13, because now he's going to have to defend against 2 cars. And they may very well, in the back straight, they may very well be back in front, but both of them. So he gained the position, but he may lose 2 in like half a minute.
Apologies for any background noise you're hearing. Family matters, as you can imagine.
Hello to the family.
Doesn't equal a good time. Very interesting move into there. It's not often we, wow, forgive me. It's not often we see moves being made in that section. I think that's the first clean move we've seen there all weekend, and a battle for the race lead as well. Is this really the go time now for Gunza? Because the 2 N2 cars now have the advantage of being able to work together, as you say, using that slipstream similar to how the Azteca drivers did in race 1. So I think Gunza may have jumped the gun here. I'm not sure if that's what you mentioned earlier, with Joao maybe, inviting Gunza to take the move with some less than ideal lines, like we discussed before.
No, he was surprised.
He looked it, but for love nor money, I can't think why Gunza would make that move that early.
I don't know, maybe he thinks he has the pace and can counter the slipstream and by a pure pace, I don't know. But clearly, it's a daring move. Oh, that's very wide. Maybe it will be penalty, because that's very, very wide from Gunza here. But clearly that's early, but they're nowhere near a threat. So
I'm baffled
interesting.
by that.
Nicolas gets in front. Nicolas went in front, so they will be able to use the Megane to catch back. and push it through the straights. Now we're back to the configuration of the previous race. Exactly the same one. You change the liveries, you change the cars, or not the cars, but the drivers, and rinse and repeat.
Yeah, and amongst all this, it's worth noting, like we mentioned before, that fighting has brought Alex back to a 1.1 second gap. He's nearly in slipstream range. If these cars keep fighting through the infield section like we've seen before, if Alex can get back into slipstream range by the time the Condor straight comes on, that long back straight towards the chase at the back end of the lap, he's very much in this race. But the two runners are going to battle it out here. If you're Nicholas, do you go for a move down the back straight here, or do you bide your time for a couple of laps time like we saw in race one?
I think you try to coordinate a move with your teammate and both overtake. That's the best way to secure a 1-2, because if you are both in front, there is no way they can, like, Gunza will be able to overtake, because he's going to have an Aston Martin in front, so uncatchable in the straight, and he's going to be blocked in the corners anyway. So that's very interesting, and I think Nicholas will try the move. Looks like it. Yeah, he's gonna try it.
Oh, he's going for it. Yes, he is. He's going for it. The two red are going to go side by side through towards the chase. Grit's on the inside. Nicholas on the outside. He has the braking zone. Round the outside goes the Italian. He's being forced onto the grass. He's off. That's all gone wrong there.
Down to
And
people.
Alex gets by Alex on the ground. What's happening? Alex just about keeps it on the track. But we have segregation now. One big group becomes two small groups because of that little battle there. Gunza still leads, but it's now the Aston Martin of Joao that's hustling for the win as we start lap 11. Fantastic racing.
Fantastic, and almost split the both of them. Almost did it. A bit forceful, but almost did it. But that's pretty much the only weapon Gunza has. He can't really work on anything aside. Very good defense and trying his best to stay in front. And Chao trying on the outside here? No, that's too daring. You can't overtake a Megan with an Aston on the outside unless you have soft versus hard or something like this. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. And obviously Nicholas is gonna come back. I'm pretty sure about this. That if they fight, he's gonna come back. But when is the question? Would it be too late?
It's fantastic. I think if I'm Nicholas, am I seriously going for that kind of move with 3 and a bit laps to go? I get that move like lap 12, lap 13, but I think the risk outweighs the reward there, because yes, if he gets by, he leads the race, and that's all well and good. But Gunza can filter in behind the slipstream, and he's got a couple more laps to sort of orchestrate a move, I suppose. And Alex is setting purple sectors here, so he's really hustling his Aston Martin and trying to make this a 4-car race for the win. But there are some really interesting strategy calls this race that I would not have expected. This very much seemed like a different race to the first 3 we've seen this week. All 4 of these cars have been very impatient. They are not waiting for the end of this race. They are going hard. They are going now. And Nicholas is now only 4 tenths back from his teammates, and he's very much in the slipstream. And again, we can see fighting between the top 3, and again, that can invite Alex into the battle for the race lead. He had the opportunity to get past Nicholas in the third last time around, but I think he got shoveled out a bit wide by the 92 Renault car. But extremely interesting to see this here as we're going to begin lap 12 soon. And I'd say around now is the time you look through. Maybe Joao's going to go for it down the inside here. No, he'd bide his time here, I reckon. Yeah, very patient driving there. Not wanting to harm that aggregate time too much, as we mentioned. Although it doesn't seem like these cars care about it too much. There have been some very daring moves through the infield and places on the circuit we haven't seen moves being made yet. This is very aggressive racing from this top 3. Very entertaining watch.
Very entertaining and very interesting. Like, Gunza is going for the inside. He knows it's the best line, and he's like, Chao is way closer. Oh, there's a bum draft. I just caught that. He wanted to go on the outside, but he bum drafted Gunza, so he can't make the overtake. That begins to be heated up between the two. It's gonna unfold in the last lap. I don't think it's gonna be before. It's gonna be in the last lap. Nicholas is back. Alex is coming back slowly but surely. Also, Nicholas has more fuel than the 2 in front, so he can just run map 1 all the time, when the other 2 may not so much.
Yeah.
So,
the beauty of this system with the aggregate times is that all of these races are going to crescendo in the last couple of laps. Because
Yeah.
all the cars are just going to run clean, and that's going to bunch cars up, separate cars into groups, and then in the last lap, all the lead cars are realising, oh my goodness, well, I have a shot at the win here. And there's some form of contact between the two N2 cars. They got very close through the S there.
Yeah,
I'm not sure
because-
if that was in a wall or that was...
Oh, I'm beginning to lose you again. But basically, Joe hit
No.
the wall. He hit the wall after the downhill section, pretty much. And that gave half a second to Gunza. And that half a second may prove critical, because now he has to catch back and use some more fuel that he may not have.
Are we going to go for a move here? Is Joao going to try
Too
and get
far.
by? Oh, he did have a look at the inside, but as you say, he was a bit too far out. And so they're finally poised for a last lap shootout between the four cars that have led this race from basically start to finish. By Jim was there, but an incident took him further down the line. So we have our four cars at the very front. It's the Gunza for the Owls team that currently lead this championship in front. Then it's the two N2 cars, pole sitter in second place last week, Joao Pessoa, with Nicolas Fontana in support behind. And then Alexion have had a horrible start to the season. Alex 24 has a very real chance at a podium finish, or perhaps even a win. We're all crescendoing as we start this final lap of the race. Gunza in front, holding that inside line as he's swaying. Same as last time, Joao has the slipstream. Could he go for a move? Gunza hard defending the outside. Pessoa's going to look to the outside. They're going to go side by side into turn two. Gunza very heavy on braking. Watch there, Nicholas. Nicholas was very close to his teammate. Similar to the two alien cars in the last race, they're all holding position for now. And the last real overtaking opportunity, and it could be similar to what we saw in the last race with the Azteca cars, is down the Condor straight and towards the chase at the back end of the lap as they head up the hill for the final time.
I think it was. I think they've made a small error or a small mistake strategy-wise. I think Nicolas has more pace and should have been in front here to stay maybe closer to Gunza, and then have Joao trying to really push the Megane in the back straight. I mean, it's easy to say when I'm sitting here and just comfortable. Well, that's for sure. But I think they may have a better chance, especially as now there's half a second. And that's not the Megane that's going to push the Aston. So, yeah, that's going to be very interesting. It's going to be down to the wire.
Here we go then, down the back straight for the final time as we head down the Condor straight. The two N2 cars now close enough to maybe get a bump draft. There's a half-second gap to Gunza out in front. Gunza going defensive already. Nicholas swerving all over the place. Maybe a bit more contact than expected between the two N2 cars. Final time down this back straight towards the chase. Is Joao close enough to Gunza to make a move? He is. He's gaining. He's gaining. He's going to the move. Gunza goes defensive. Joao around the outside. This for a race win. He's still going. Gunza forces him all the way out. It's fantastic driving. Alex and Nicholas are side by side for third. It's all happening here at the final few turns. Gunza, I think, has it. They're going to go side by side here. Nicholas up the inside of Alex. He holds the position. He takes third. There's a spin for Alex. Gunza wins the race. 12 second. Nicholas third. Alex fourth. What a race. What a finish. What a tantrum. Well done.
That is one way to defend. And that's what I mentioned as well. I think they've made a mistake by letting the Aston Martin in front, because they couldn't be close enough in the back straight. But that's also very good defense from Gunza. You try something, I'm gonna be on the other side and you're never gonna pass. So yeah, this is really, really, really... I think it's a very good showing of, first of all, the skill, and maybe taking some notes for the others. Maybe try something else the next time.
I think you mentioned that all of these teams are going to have turns running in the first session and running in the second session. There's an equal split through the season. So these teams may have watched yesterday's action, and that action will undoubtedly have influenced their strategy for this one. And I think that's why the 92 team played a much more patient and reserved game than what we saw at Deep Forest last week, for example, when they went hell for leather right from the start of this race. And it has paid dividends for them. Yes, By Jim has got the race win, but a 2-3 finish. Maybe it's not as good as the 1-2 they had last week, but for 92, that's not to be sniffed at. But looking at the total times and looking at the aggregate times and the points positions, Owls, who are your championship leaders, yes, they have the race win, But look at where Bijim is, P5, and some tune back from Alex in P4. That's going to harm Alder's aggregate time. And based on the issues that we've seen Vanquish and Freem have in the past couple of days of action, we'll run the numbers, we'll get the standings up for you as soon as possible. But this could play very nicely into 92's hands for the championship battle.
On top of my head, I would say the Alls are on the podium on aggregate time, because Jim is 5 seconds, 6 seconds behind, but it's not too far, and they didn't fight too much in the end, aside the last lap or the last 2 laps. So they didn't lose time battling and all, so it must be a very nice, nice race time overall. But obviously, I already forgot the name, damn it, 92. 92 will be in front, because they are just slightly behind 2 and 7/10 from the leader. So even if they didn't win outright the race on both aggregate times, they will be in front, that's for sure, because you have P1, so +0, and then +6 seconds, or 2 and 7/10, so it's not even 1 second or barely 1 second. So I think, 92 may be the fastest team of this race, but will they be the fastest team overall? That's another question.
We'll find out. I believe it's currently Visceral Esports that hold that position at the moment, which makes up for a chaotic race they had last week. Legatus, who won the race yesterday, was finished very far down thanks to penalties and a low finishing position initially, and they currently occupy a Silver Rockets position. But I doubt they will stay there that long after a fantastic race that they had on Monday. Now, as we did in the first race, we're going to go to Finlay Williams' replay corner. I'm going to trademark that. we have 4 things I want to have a look at.
Okay, so I'm going to... Tell me when I go on your...
I'm ready when you are.
Okay, well, I'm not.
And we'll do this, and then hopefully by the time we go through all the incidents and all the action, we will see, we'll have the standings updated for you, and then we can have a look at them, and then that will be us until next week. But we are on with the Nexus car of Alvarez. He's currently sitting P11. He's got Tono Lopez and Majoka's car behind him. We've seen this already, Yamas. We know what happens. It's Bathurst. Take us through it.
Well, yeah. Bathurst. Don't have to say anything else. Bathurst. It's just losing the rear. Again, that's what I mentioned at the start of the stream. The car has more weight on the front than the rear. So when you go downhill, it's kind of getting loose. And if you're not on the right line and you try to overcompensate, you're going to lose the rear. So I think that's what happened. Overcorrecting, and then it's just snowballing. That is quite... It killed his race. I think he would have had a better race overall. Maybe not like top 5 or something, but at least not all alone on the race as well. But you race, you learn, that's part of these races where you come back stronger after.
I like that. Hold on, very briefly. We can go back quickly. After he does the spin, this is just something I've noticed because I'm insane. So after he does the spin and he reverses back out, he's already got his left indicator on to demonstrate that this next turn's a left-hander. I like it. Very, very formal. Very, very nice. Very appreciated. Very well done.
What I noticed.
I'm lucky with.
I noticed on the dot, the dot of the inputs. He compensates. He's just here. He makes like 5 degrees more, and that's when he lost the rear. It's very tiny on the screen, but just look at it.
Tell me when to stop roughly when it was.
I mean, we can't see like he's turning. He's gonna turn a bit less after.
Still turning. Braking now. Still turning. Stop turning, man. Come on.
And then he begins to turn a bit more here.
Yes.
See,
you can see that gap
slightly more because he's not next to the wall. He has about 50, 60, or even a meter, I would say. So that means he tries to get a bit, or maybe there's a bit of overspeed as well. But he overcorrects the car to make it back in line. But by doing so, he unsettled the back of it. And then the back goes loose, overcorrect again to make it back in line, but it's downhill. And it's just, good luck with that. It doesn't work.
Well, Bathurst has claimed many a victim in its time, and sadly, we remember Alvarez for his noble cause, but his unsuccessful race this week. Hopefully, him and Nexus can rebound next week when we visit Lego Maggiore. Now, the next thing I wanted to note was of this man here, Tono Lopez, one of the Joker's E-Team cars, and he had an incident as well. He had a penalty. Was it just a penalty that forced him to slow down?
I think so.
No, he was definitely further. He was definitely further back. Oh my goodness! Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Carbon copy again of exactly what happened with Alvarez.
Clip the wall on the inside and went straight on the outside, and that's just it. Just a pinball, pinball? Yeah, pinball effect, I guess.
Yeah. It's such a shame, obviously, because, Bathurst obviously isn't a street circuit, but such fine margins of a street circuit. And just one clip of the wall, and bang.
Yeah, and what happened right before the corner as well? He went on the grass for quite a bit of time. That means the right tires were dirty, and he couldn't turn as much as he wanted to. Like, dirty tires, they don't have the time to clean down. He's going to be fine, but as soon as he tries to turn here, doesn't turn as much, hits the wall, and that's it.
Yeah, I think it goes unnoticed, like, at the lower level of the game, like, for your regular Joe who just plays Gran Turismo for the fun of it, how advanced the tyre physics are in Gran Turismo 7, specifically. Because, like, obviously you can't see them on the screen, it's just a measurement of how much the tyres are worn. But, like, that effect of going on the grass and the dirty tyres, not having enough time to clean, hence the braking power is less, there's a lot more slippery, I suppose. That sort of stuff does go unnoticed unless you're at the top level, and that's probably been a really big contributing factor to the incident there, and that kind of ruined his race, unfortunately.
And I would say even for without disrespect at all, but the average level, it is a factor, but you may not think of it, or you may not feel it, but it is there. And that's something to keep in mind, that the tires gets dirty and they will clean up in 30 seconds, but not the next corner. So you need to be wary of that sometimes you're like, oh, why it didn't break as much as I wanted to? But maybe and not even only the grass, sometimes some green parts that are a bit dusty does the same thing. So that's something else to keep in mind. That's also what makes the difference between some of the good and some of the greatest, is all of these tiny details of the game that are not told, but you experience, note it down, and then it gets natural in your head that, okay, this happened, so I need to adjust this to lose the least time possible. You're not going to catch up the time you've lost. It's just to lose the least possible and do a mistake. And that's sometimes what makes a big difference from a small detail.
Yeah. Okay. Now, the next thing I want to sort of demonstrate, I guess, and show is the first sort of mini crescendo we had with the lead battle coming down towards the chase for lap 10. Gunze in front, Fontana in behind. All sorts of chaos happen here, if I remember correctly. We'll go with Pessoa because he has a good little bird's eye view of the action in front. Fontana looking to the inside for this turn, but crucially it's the outside for the main braking zone heading into the left-hander. Fontana does brake quicker, but he goes out wide. Gunze holds the lead. Here comes Alex round the outside, and then he gets forced into the grass himself. Now,
that could be.
I'm going to go with Fontana here.
It could be a dodgy. It's not even a rejoining, but it could be, kind of pushing off track. Yeah, it's going to be a rejoining. He's off the track, and then when he comes back,
he had all four wheels off. Yeah,
at least off the white line, and then when he comes back, he pushes Alex off. So that could be. Stewards, if you hear that or see this, nod it. I think it's worth investigating.
I think I would be fairly certain that Annexion will be on the blower to the stewards at the end of this race, asking for a review on that.
Yeah, at least a review. It's kind of on the line, because also dirty tires and maybe not in full control of the vehicle. But yeah, it's still pushing wide and gaining an advantage in the end. So I would. There's an argument in both ways, and that's not up to me to decide. But there's an argument in both ways.
Yeah, sure. Because Nicholas has obviously lost a lot of time there, But so was Alex. Alex could have been up there in the battle for the lead had the rejoin maybe not messed up. But as I say, it's not my job to deliberate that. It's the stewards, and they will go and have a look at that. And as you can say, it's mac25gaming.com. Go to the InfinityGSeries page, and then you can see all the penalties pop up as they pop up when we give the full standings to you in a couple of days' time, once Nico Romero and the stewarding team have had a look at it. So, this is it. This is the battle for the win then. 4 cars out in front, the 292 cars in a sandwich between Owls and Annexion. Here's what happens then. Gunza does have an advantage down the back straight initially, but it's that slipstreaming effect again that we speak of. Nicholas got really sideways. I'm not sure if we saw that. I think there might have been a bit more contact than he wagered for with Joao. But here we go then. Joao, the Brazilian driver, very experienced World Series driver. Gunza right up ahead of him. There's enough for him to pull out, but Gunza defends very well. Pessoa around the outside.
Doesn't have the grip to turn. At all.
And not enough traction. Not enough traction.
Not even traction. The front right is cooked. He can't turn. Like, he doesn't have the grip to turn at all. Like, he's turning, but the car's like, nope, mate, I'm not gonna turn. And it's also an Aston versus a Megane, not the same chassis at all.
Yeah, I mean, you look at there's significantly more wear on the Aston. Yeah. And then there was nearly a bit of contact between the two teammates there, actually, towards the end.
Again?
But then the other one I wanted to look at. So the other one I wanted to look at, I want to go with Fontana here. Goodness me, they're swerving about all over the place. But then, after that, go with Alex here, because I think Fontana misjudges how the braking of the 2 cars in front of him, and of course the slipstream as well of Alex, because I think there's a similar incident to the end of lap 10 here between Alex and Fontana. Fontana goes wide. Is there a bit of contact? Yeah, there is.
A bit. But gives the space.
Oh, no, that's fair.
Gives the space. It's rough, but there's space.
Yeah, like it's fair racing as long as you're not running the guy off the circuit like we might have seen at lap 10. There is a bit of contact there, but it's like a bit of shoulder barging.
Whatever.
Okay.
This one is whatever.
And then Fontana does get ahead, and he goes very close goes defensive, and then nearly takes out Joao at the end there.
That would have been terrible. Last corner, last lap, both out.
And then Alex going a bit sideways there at the end. So that was the action from a dramatic race 2, which saw Owls pick up their 2nd race win of the season. But from 2 separate drivers, Gunza winning this time out after debut 10-1 last week. 92 drivers finished 1 and 2 last week. 2 and 3 this week is still solid points. And a good effort from Alex after a horror start to the season for Annexion to take home P4 and be up there in the battle for the podium spots. But now we have the grand reveal of the timings.
Roll drums.
Jaime Marti's asking the question. The Visceral driver who ran yesterday is asking the question, are Visceral still in front?
We're going to know
very
soon.
Or are MC still in second? We'll find out.
Yeah, it's one click away.
Da, da, da.
And that's the wrong one. There it is.
That's the wrong one.
Yep.
There they are. Visceral are still ahead by 3.2 seconds for Azteca, and 92 Esports, the quickest team in this split, fitting in third, just 2 seconds ahead, 2 seconds behind Azteca, but only a tenth of a second ahead of Alien. It doesn't matter in the end because third and fourth take home the same number of aggregate timing points, so 10. And obviously these are all provisional because penalties can, and because it's Bathurst, probably will be added. So, as I say, keep an eye on the Mac25 Gaming website for any updates regarding penalties. Owls Esports were as you predicted, on the podium in terms of the aggregate timings in this split. So they finished second in the split, 6th overall between Elite Racing Squad and Team Monza Racing. And then the only other team in this split, it was quite a slow split in terms of aggregate timing. There was lots of fighting through the field and a few incidents. The only other team in the split to make the top half and take home 7 total points is Annexion, which is very impressive given they only scored 1 point based on aggregate timing. They were the 3rd slowest team at Deep Forest last week. Alex, maybe a bit frustrated at J-Rex finishing, 9 seconds behind them, but it's enough for a top 10 finish on the aggregate timings. So given the horror show that they had last week, plus the fact they're actually ahead, crucially, of 2 of the main championship teams, in Freem and Vanquish, who will only take home 6 points each in their fight for the championship, they wouldn't be complaining too much.
So, that is I don't want to say disappointing, but surprising is the word for Prem Esports. I really thought they would be way higher in the ranks. So, but yeah, sometimes it just goes that way. It doesn't go your way, and next time it's gonna be better. And we're gonna have a P13 to P24 right now.
Okay, looking at P13 to P24, EPLF Sim Racing were the slowest team out of all of them last week by like 5 seconds as well from Avatar Racing Team. They've managed to get their way up to provisional 13th. Now, I do think there'll be a couple of penalties here or there. I think both of their drivers were involved in last lap incidents. Seku tapped off one of the customs drivers, Joseito, and Alvarito did some very dodgy defending on, I think it was Aramando in one of the Avalon cars. So I'd expect a couple of penalties to maybe go their way. But on the basis of it, provisionally, a solid result for them, picking up 5 aggregate timing points. Looking at where the rest of the teams in this particular split fit in, Deluxe down in 19th, and then Nexus 21st, and Joker Z Team picking up no added points provisionally. Of course, we'll have penalties added on, but the 2 teams going pointless in aggregate timing standings, Joker Z Team, and again, similar to last week, no aggregate timing points for Avitada Racing Team. So difficult and disappointing outing for those 2 particular outfits. And especially, one other one I didn't really point out as much as I should have on Monday, Hydra Rennsport had the 6th fastest aggregate time last week, 22nd this week. It was a horrible race for them on Monday, with both of their drivers caught up in incidents, but only 1 added aggregate point.
What I found interesting is even for the 2 last positions, they managed to be only 4/10 apart.
True, yes.
So,
just shows how fine the margins are in this series.
Yeah, even if they're about a minute off the leaders, they're still, with between positions. The fine margins are just there. It might be just an overcooked corner, like you just went wide for one corner, and maybe Avutarda would have been in front of Jokers. Who knows? But yeah, that means that regardless of your races, or regardless if one of the 2 has a bad race, try to optimize your own, because maybe 4/10 may give you 1 position and an extra point or 2 depending. So yeah, it's just kind of almost like words of encouragement that give your best until the end, because it doesn't matter if you're P23rd and P24th. Just one small detail can just turn the table between 2 teams or 3 teams. So yeah, I was looking at the gaps and all, and when I saw only 4/10 between the 2 last, I was like, yeah, it's just fine details at any level.
I find it very impressive how we're looking at, an hour of racing combined between the 2 drivers, roughly an hour, and yet there are still gaps of only the blink of an eye between teams, and that's costing you points. I just find that incredible, and it just shows on any given day the Avitada Racing Team could be up there with like the Vanquish and Freems of the world. It's that close. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it, like all 24 teams have the potential and have the ability to be pushing higher than they are right now, and that puts us, especially given how low Vanquish and Freem are in the aggregate standings, that gives a very interesting championship table between the top 4 teams heading into next week. And I also thinking we'll be seeing the likes of Visceral, Azteca joining that fight as well. We'll have the updated full point standings for you on the Mac25 Gaming website when they're confirmed by management. Garnato will run all the numbers and confirm that for us very soon. But we're only in the 2nd round, and this is already heating up to be a fantastic edition of the Infinity-G-Series.
I couldn't agree more. And I think our time has run out too.
Yes. Well, Jonas, how have you enjoyed yourself tonight?
It was pretty good. Pretty stressful, I must say. With the sound popping off at some point, it's like, okay, I need to fix that quickly. And somehow I managed to, which is, I'm glad, even though the first qualifying mostly had no sound, so sorry about this, but it went better on the second part. And, but yeah, I'm happy I've done that too, to actually give myself a try, almost a trial by fire, basically. And yeah, commentating with you, very, very joyful. Like, as we said, as we said before we actually went on air, that I was a goofball, but so are you. And I think, yeah, that's I like it. Like, I didn't see, what, 2 hours, more than 2 hours passing. This is just fun. It was just fun to go through, trying to analyze what happens. But we missed a few things on live, but we went back with the replay. And yeah, it's been very fun. And I've been very happy to commentate with you. And I don't think that's going to be the last time. Oh, he's I see his face. He's blushing.
No, I will say, you know, as someone who's watched the World Series since its inception and have also raced against you in Gran Turismo AI version, it's been an extreme honour to commentate with you. I want to thank yourself for your incredible analysis through the evening. I want to thank Mac25 Gaming and the InfinityGSeries for making this possible. You've been a fantastic addition to the commentary team. You wouldn't be able to tell it's not your first day. It's your first time commentating in English. Do you want more?
I mean, there's going to be more anyway. It's scheduled.
Oh, I was just going to say, you were supposed to say yes, and I'd say, well, you better come back next week.
I wanted to break your thing.
we will be back next. We are running 2 races again next week, as we are every week. Monday and Tuesday, the 20th and 21st next week. I will be there on Monday with Awiyu, Pierre, and a very special guest who will be unveiled on the night as we head to Lego Major. And Yorasu will be back on the Tuesday with Jens and another new commentator who I'm not going to reveal yet because it's incredibly exciting. So we'll see 2 new additions to the broadcast booth next week. Do come back and join us. I've been Finley Williams. He's been Florian Pagdene. We've been your commentators tonight. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next Monday. But from us, it's goodbye for now. Goodbye.
Goodbye, and take care.